Good evening and welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as we are waiting on Mother Nature to cooperate, as it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers Week 2 of the 2019 preseason. As you can see, most of the fans not in the stands at the moment. Hello to everybody in Chiefs Kingdom. I'm Ari Wolf. I got one piece of real good news. There will be football tonight. Piece of bad news, it's not going to start right on time. Weather has been an issue. There's been some lightning in the area. For more specifics on our situation, let's go to BJ Kissel.
Thanks, Ari. The latest news that we've been given is that the kickoff is scheduled for around 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central for everybody back in Chiefs Kingdom. And like you said, the players were out on the field earlier, but they were cleared off as there was lightning in the area. It started to rain a little bit. Fans were asked to clear the stadium and go up to the concourse. Some fans started coming back down once the rain stopped, but they were sent back up. They just did an announcement over the PA that it has stopped raining, obviously, but there's still a chance for lightning in the area. The players have not yet come out of the locker room. We're expecting that to happen soon. And we have been told they're going to do a full 45-minute warm-up. So as soon as the players get out, they get through their full warm-up. We should see a kickoff, hopefully, around 8:15 Eastern time, unless there's any other kind of change between now and then. And obviously, we'll keep you updated.
Appreciate that, BJ, and guys, joined by Todd McShay and Trent Green. Guys, obviously this is a tough situation for players. Certainly, I imagine a lot of young guys anxious to get out there, make some plays, get a chance to make this very talented roster. What do you think are going through some of those young guys' heads right now in the locker room?
Well, I think the first thing is you're fortunate and you're happy that you didn't start the game and then have to go and cool down and then re-warm up. That's really the first thing. But obviously it's frustration. Everyone, especially the young guys, they want to get out there and show the coaches what they can do. They want to show that they belong on this football team. And there's so many players that are vying for those final spots. So there's a lot of anxiety, I'm sure, in that locker room right now.
I agree with you, Todd. And here's the thing. Coaches and players are about routine. They want to get into a routine, whether it's meeting routine, practice routine, what goes on during the week. Game day, you definitely want to be in a routine. I agree with you, Todd. The guys were out on the field warming up, but they hadn't gone in to put their pads and everything on yet. They cleared the field because lightning was starting. It wasn't, the rain had started. So when the lightning started, they cleared the field. That's when the downpour happened. So fortunately for the players, they didn't get their uniforms and their clothes and everything soaked, so that they got to come out and now play, because that is a little bit uncomfortable when you're sitting around in a wet uniform and then all of a sudden, hey, go out and play a game. So that is a good thing. There is going to be about 45 minutes, as BJ just said, that they come out. They still have to go through a full warm-up. Guys want to get into their routine, get going, and get excited about, especially after what happened last week, beating the Cincinnati Bengals and looking anxious to get in their first game here on the road.
All right, let's take you through the day in Pittsburgh so far. As earlier today, beautiful day, guys. It was sunny. Thought things were going to be great. We were going to have an on-time kickoff.
Took a nice jog outside. It was great.
And then you can see the National Weather Service shows that lightning was coming and gusty winds. And there you see the players, guys, having to leave the field. And then the waiting game begins. Fans were all pretty good about moving along.
And they've had to clear it out twice now, too, which is, it's got to be frustrating. But I'm hearing a roar in the background, so it sounds like some good news is coming.
Well, they just made an announcement to the fans in the stand that they can go down to their seats now. So they're going to start filling it back in, and then pretty soon here we'll get the players out as well.
Pretty good reason why we're delayed, right there, fellas. That lightning can be enough to make sure we want to keep everybody safe. Unfortunately, we can stay all night if we have to, and there's a look at some of the weather that's been going through the area. Now you can see it rained pretty hard for a while, and now we'll get a look at a live picture, and you'll see that the weather has improved. Looks like maybe even the sun's going to come out. So fans starting to file back into their seats. This is real good news that we're starting to see people from both the franchises coming out onto the field and people heading to their seats. And BJ told us about 8:15 is the approximate if there isn't any other weather at this point. But, guys, let's take a look back and talk a little bit about last week. Trent, let's start with you. Just seeing the guys out on the field, every year is a different year. Chemistry can be a unique thing, but it seems like they had such a great year, and it looked like guys were just anxious and excited in a good way to get back out there and play with their teammates.
Well, and I think that was one of the things I talked about last week is the high expectations coming into this year because you have the reigning MVP in Patrick Mahomes, because you were number one in the NFL in total offense, number one in scoring offense. You shattered a number of NFL records. Those expectations are through the roof for what this team is going to do. Then they come out last week. The offense only gets one series. They move it right down the field. Mahomes is perfect, 4 for 4. Travis Kelce gets involved. They actually get Carlos Hyde, their new running back. He gets into the end zone. So the offense started clicking and started rolling. That's why I'm anxious tonight. They're going to get more of an opportunity. Andy Reid says a full half. I don't know if I believe a full half. I think they get 2 or 3 series, and then you'll start to see some of the backups.
Todd, for you, on the defensive side of the ball, there's a lot of new blood. They've redone this defense. What were some of the things that stood out last week? Why Chiefs Kingdom should be excited about that defensive group?
Well, I think they're better and deeper on the defensive side, and I think there's some young players that have an opportunity to really to become impact players. Juan Thornhill. I mean, here's a guy with a 44-inch vertical leap who can play safety, who can play some corner, brings a lot of versatility coming out of Virginia, and I think we're going to continue to see more and more big things from Thornhill. Kalen Saunders, the defensive lineman, who third-round draft pick. He's got quickness. He's got some power. Can he fit into what they're trying to do on the defensive line, which has gone from kind of an inconsistent group to now potentially the strength of the defense this year?
Okay, good stuff, guys. All right, let's check in with BJ.
All right, thanks, guys. Down here, as you can see, the fans have been let into the stadium, and now we're being told the players will come out to warm up here in about 5 minutes, and that kickoff will be now at 8:30, so it looks like we'll have a total delay of an hour. But as of right now, the players should be out here in a couple of minutes to get loose, and then 8:30 kickoff Eastern Time, 7:30 Central.
Thank you very much, BJ. Guys, so heading into week 2, obviously a lot on the line, but there aren't that many roster spots open. So there are some interesting position battles. And let's just start with one at the tight end position, because we know Travis Kelce, he's the number one, might be the best tight end in the entire NFL. But it's a number 2 spot when you've got Bell competing in there. He looked very good last week, and I thought Deion Yelder looked pretty good. So what are your thoughts at the number 2 tight end spot?
Well, and don't forget about Kaiser.
Yeah, Kaiser came to play well.
He had a fumble recovery, ended up with 3 catches a week ago. So all 3 of those guys are competing for that number 2 spot. Had a chance to talk to Andy Reid about it last night at the hotel. And he was the one that first reminded me about Kaiser, because I did the same thing you did. I was like, what about Bell and Yelder? And he's like, hey, don't forget about Kaiser. He's doing a heck of a job. So those 3 guys are going to continue to battle. Who contributes on special teams? Who's involved in the running game? Because, Travis Kelce, his main thing is catching the football. But you got to be able to catch the ball a little bit. But for the most part, it's going to be your run blocking ability and your ability to play on special teams. That's why I think decides that final tight end spot.
And both Bell and Yelder made plays on special teams last week. So this is a really interesting competition, and there's an opportunity to be the number 2 guy. And with Bell, obviously a former quarterback who's transitioned to that tight end spot, I get the sense that he has a really good feel for the game and has an opportunity to continue to get better. Yelder right now, to me, looks maybe a little bit more polished. But, again, their special teams is going to be huge, and you're right, Trent. They've got to show that they can block and be that Y tight end, the guy that's in line and can help in that run game.
Trent, I think a lot of people are wondering how they're going to use the tailback position this year. Is it going to be by committee? We know Damian Williams was healthy this week and got a chance to get out there, practice with his guys. What are your expectations at the running back position?
I do think it'll be running back by committee. I think you're going to see different situational backs. Certain backs do certain things well, whether it's Damian Williams, Darwin Thompson, Carlos Hyde. You're going to find different situations where each of those backs is more skilled and more specialized. This is something that isn't new to Andy Reid. He's done this before, even in his time here in Kansas City, where he's rotated multiple guys. So the running back position, I think, will be a running back by committee. I think the wide receiver is another one. We all know Sammy Watkins, and we all know Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson. Is he going to be that steady third guy? Is it going to be Kemp? Is it who's that next? Pringles had a really good camp. Who's going to be that guy to step up? McCole Hardman showed flashes last week. Yep. He showed some of that speed. So there's competition in several spots.
Yeah, McCole Hardman to me is the intriguing guy. because he can take some reps away from Tyreek Hill and help to keep him healthy throughout the course of the year. He ran a 4.33 at the combine. He's an explosive guy who averaged 20 yards per punt return and over 25 yards as a kick returner. He's not going to need to know the whole offense right away. He's just going to have to be able to be in a position to have 3 or 4 plays that work for him so that he can stress the defense, and defenses are going to have to take advantage or really look at how they're going to match up, because you got a double Hill, and then you got Kelsey at tight end, and now if you have another 4-3 receiver, that becomes scary when you're a defensive coordinator.
There's going to be a lot for defense coordinators to be concerned about when they go up against the Chiefs. So here's really good news. Some of the special teams guys heading out on the field here at Heinz Field. And again, you see that clock at 50 minutes. That's when we're hoping the game will kick off, but Mother Nature will ultimately be the decider. Now, one of the really cool things they've done this offseason, and many of you in Chiefs Kingdom have already seen it, is the franchise. It's a great series. It's a lot like Hard Knocks on HBO. Takes you behind the scenes. You get to learn a little bit more about the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's take a look at one of the episodes of the franchise.
This week on The Franchise, presented by GEHA.
It just kind of gains momentum, and we hit the ground running pretty hard this week.
Definitely got to bring this, though. Got to have a good old Madden on deck. I got to get 20 so I can play with the 70 overall Colin Saunders.
Yeah, Rex, don't get on the car. Okay.
Love you.
Every year it's gotten bigger and bigger, and now everyone's anticipating how I'm going to come to camp.
This training camp, getting ourselves game ready, building ourselves as a team, and start building that foundation that takes you through a long season.
This camp will have the most position battles and the most competition that we've ever had.
Hey, let's go, let's go, let's go. In terms of our goals, it starts with winning the AFC Championship. Once we do that, then we're going to go to Miami and we're going to win the Lombardi Trophy.
Ready for this?
I think so. Pretty nervous, but
it's going to be a good time. We'll take you inside the building here. We're going to set you in the briefing room, just kind of how the airplane works, what it's going to be like to get in the seat, and then some of the things that you'll need to know to enjoy your flight.
What made you want to do this?
My family, I come from a background of military, and my mom, my dad was in the military, and I've always wanted to fly in a plane this fast. But
really?
Yeah.
So, once you get up in the jet, this is what it's going to look like. And then this right here is the most important one, your G-forces. You got negative G's, 0G, positive G's. So you're going to be pulling a lot of positive G's today.
Right.
So this aircraft is capable of pulling 7.5 G's. That's 7.5 times force of gravity.
Oh, wow.
What it's doing is it's pulling the blood from your head, and it's starting to make you want to pass out.
Okay.
So if you're going to pull a high G, there's a breathing portion, and the nickname for that is called the Hick maneuver. It's going to sound like this. You're going to take no breath in. Hick. Hold that for 5 seconds.
And you hold it in your chest.
Mm-hmm. Ready, hit it.
I need all of it. I'm gonna take like 7 of them, bro. Oh man, I'm gonna just be hicking, bro. He gonna be like, "You good?" Man, I can't wait, man. Right now, I feel pretty good. He just got me right with a couple tips, and I don't know, I'm just eager to get inside and see how it's gonna feel. Am I going up?
Yeah, you can hop right up, just sit right back in the back seat.
Jack.
Things over here. This is your mic. Well, ready to go? All right.
Just watch your arms there. All right, here we go. All our other takeoff decks are looking good. We're going to taxi to the end of the runway, and we'll be taking off here in a moment. You ready to go? Sure. All right, ready, hit it. Oh! All right. You ready to go? Ready, hit it. All right, you're you're halfway there. And we're straight up and down. And here come the rolls. What'd you think?
Man.
You stay with me?
Yeah, I was there.
Nice. And we're down.
Nice.
Welcome back.
Man, I thank you, Seven. You're the best, man.
No, thanks for coming with us. We appreciate it.
Everything was so amazing. Yeah, Mr. Chewy helped me out with everything, Seven. You know, just kind of your mind off of things and kind of relax and, you know, get out and do some things that are fun and not just all about business sometimes. Because in our work area, it is all about business. But sometimes it's good to just get out and fly planes, I guess.
DeMarcus Robinson may be safely back on the ground, but back at One Arrowhead Drive, the team is prepping for a takeoff of their own. In just a few short days, the Kansas City Chiefs will pack up their entire practice facility and head 64 miles north to St. Joseph, Missouri, their home for the next month. And while the thought of moving an entire building may make even the most organized person shudder, Equipment Director Alan Wright is no stranger to the process.
I mean, it's on our mind really all year. It's just kind of a process that you kind of go through once the off-season program starts, and then it just kind of gains momentum, and then we hit the ground running pretty hard this week.
Alan Wright is entering his 37th season with the club, taking over as equipment director in 2010. And although Wright is orchestrating his 9th consecutive move to Missouri Western State University, it's an undertaking that cannot be accomplished alone.
I've got 5 full-time guys, and we're very fortunate to have that. And each one kind of has their area. So Kyle Crumball, he handles a lot of the coaching cloth. Cale Kirby handles most of the player cloth. Jay White handles helmet, shoulder pads, knee pad, thigh pads, that sort of thing. And then Chris Shropshire, he handles field equipment and laundry.
Yeah, I'm just packing all the staff bags for camp with all the new clothing. It'll start coming in maybe February or March, and it's still trickling in, so as it comes in, we try to pull everything for every coach, every athletic trainer, equipment manager, video guy, all the scouts, operations people, and then throw it in their bags. And then when we get to camp, we'll hang all their stuff up in their rooms, and they'll be locked and loaded.
It feels like after the 4th of July, it's football time for the most part.
I thought it was football time this whole time.
Yeah, you're right. It's always football time. Basically, I'm just packing the kind of the primary parts of the bag: the helmet, shoulder pad, and thigh and knee pads. And then Alan will go through and really do the more detailed job. But not knowing what to expect or what type of equipment we need up there, we just try to have everything available and ready to go. I'd say we're getting pretty close. We've been doing this so long, it just feels like second nature. It's this training camp time, and this is what we do. We pack and get ready for St. Joe.
Take advantage of the day. When you get an opportunity in this game, you make a play. 1, 2, 3. He dives for the end zone. Touchdown! It's going to be intercepted. Kendall Fuller in the back of the end zone. And the catch is made. Touchdown! Kansas! 9 yards after contact by Damian Williams to the 5. Sammy Watkins breaks tackles. Touchdown! Kansas City!
Culture is what you make and how you grow it. That's what we're doing. We're gonna grow it together.
Going to Kansas City, the Honey Badger has another new.
We're trying to create competition from the first man down to the 90th man, and really never stops.
Frank Clark of the Seattle Seahawks will soon.
So the real 55.
Have the Madden shoot. Gonna be on the Madden cover. Let's get it! Let's go, baby!
No, we about to show. How about those teams?
That's what we're talking about.
Tyreek Hill, guys, last year he had 22 plays of 25 yards or more he is the elite big playmaker in the NFL. Any reason to think that his role doesn't even increase this season, given he's getting more and more comfortable in his role with the Chiefs?
Well, I just think he's going to continue to open up this offense. When you talk about the one guy on this offense, yes, you have MVP and Patrick Mahomes, but Tyreek Hill, because of that speed factor, because of what he's able to do by stretching the field, he's the one that allows Travis Kelce to roam the middle of the field and be single covered. If Travis Kelce's double covered, then that means you're singling Tyreek Hill, which there's no defensive player that's fast enough to keep up with Tyreek Hill. That's also going to be the piece that opens up McCole Hardman, that opens up, whether it's Demarcus Robinson or Sammy Watkins, whoever it is, the running game to get more involved. He is just that much of a difference maker because of that level of speed. He stretches things and opens things up for everyone else.
It's the first time ever in the history of the NFL, you have 2 players on the same offense, over 1,300 yards receiving and 10 touchdown catches. So they absolutely complement one another with Hill and Kelce. Pretty good quarterback, too, getting him the football and creates a lot of opportunities with his ability to extend plays.
I want to remind everybody that we are in a weather delay. Kickoff is planned local time here at about 8:30. That's projected. There was a scare with lightning. We saw some lightning near the stadium. That's why we're in a delay, but it's going to give us a chance to talk a little bit more about this Chiefs team. And, guys, other incredible options. You got Sammy Watkins. A lot of people think his health is back. He's going to be as good as he's ever been. You got Tyreek on the other side. I mean, this offense is loaded.
Well, and Sammy Watkins, we had a chance to talk to him a week ago leading up to that first preseason game, and he just was expressing how healthy he is. This is as healthy as he's been in a long time, and a lot of it is due to the training staff of the Kansas City Chiefs and what they were able to do. He was having feet problems, but it tied to his hips and his groin and his flexibility, and just he was taking us through the steps that he went through to get himself healthy, and he feels like he's as good as he's been in his entire career.
Yeah, and then you add McCole Hardman to the mix. I'm interested to see what this young man can do. You know, as a rookie coming in, the 4.33 speed, I've mentioned it before, the ability to get down the field and also create after the catch. You know, you can dump the ball off to him out of the backfield in the slot position, and a 3-yard throw becomes a 40-yard touchdown. So, and again, you add that to Kelce and to Hill and to Sammy Watkins, and this offense, it's frightening if you're a defensive coordinator trying to figure out how you're going to match up.
You talk about a 3-yard throw that turns into a touchdown. Quarterbacks love that. You just do the little jet sweep where you flip it about a half-yard forward, and then you get the touchdown pass.
Exactly.
Because the guy runs a 4.3 and can get it in there for you.
And guys, fair to say, the guy's got an incredibly charming personality. I think Chiefs Kingdom's going to fall in love with this guy. From a little town, Bowman, Georgia. It's only got 800 people in it. And just when he was on the air with B.J. Kissel last week, when we're talking to him in the meeting room yesterday, he's got a personality. I think Kansas City's going to fall in love with this guy.
I went back through my notes, and, you know, every single player that we evaluate, you have a character report. And his was loves football, team guy, you know, willing to put in the effort. He does all the little things. And I think, you know, when you're on a team with this much talent on the offensive side, you've got to have those things. And you got to be willing to contribute on special teams and do little things in order to make their value for you as a back end of the roster type player, and eventually emerge as a starter if he becomes the number 2 guy opposite Tyreek Hill one day.
Well, Trent, and this is perfect because we're going to talk to Brett Veach later in the broadcast, but as a GM, you look at that roster, somebody might have thought, okay, maybe they don't need McCole Hardman in the second round, but now that he's with the Chiefs, you're like, wow, that's a great pick. Brett's done an incredible job. What are some of the things that you've noticed about how Brett goes about building the roster?
Well, and that's the thing. He continues to build the roster, even after the final cuts are done. He's a guy that looks to see the other teams, who's been waived, what guys can pick up and help improve the team. The depth has gotten so much better since Andy Reid took over. John Dorsey started it, and now it's Brett Veach that's carried that on here now in year 3 as the GM. And I think that's the thing that's really made this team better, is because you look back at last season and some of the injuries that they dealt with. Sammy Watkins was down with injury. They lost Duvernay Tardif for a while. They lost Mitch Morris, the center, to injury. There was a number of injuries on the offense, and what they do, they led the league in yards, they led the league in points, and they had the MVP. So, you know, and we hadn't even talked about losing a running back. They had to do running back by committee the last half of the season, or the last part of the season. So this is a team that's very deep, and that's why these preseason games are so important when we talk about depth. We touched on depth at running back. We touched on depth now at wide receiver. We touched on depth earlier at the tight end position. We'll continue to find the pieces along the offensive line that are going to be those guys that can step in. Cam Irving's a guy that can flop tackles, play anywhere on that offensive line. Who's going to be the next guy to step up? Allegretti, who they just drafted, Jimmy Murray, who plays center and guard. This is a continual battle on the offensive side. We haven't even gotten to the defensive side where a lot of the new guys haven't played yet. Frank Clark hasn't played yet. Okafor hasn't played yet. We're hoping we get a chance to see them tonight. But in their absence, who stood out last week? Breland Speaks and Tano Passanio. They both had opportunities to play. They both had a sack. They both were putting pressure in the backfield on the quarterback and in the running game. So there's a lot of depth on this roster. And I can't wait to talk to Brett Veach in the second quarter about what his plan is, how they've implemented that plan, and just where they go from here as they're trying to trim down and make decisions on the roster.
I can't wait to see 15 tonight.
You always want to see. Look, Todd, let's go back. You evaluate college players for a living. Yep. You know it as well as anybody. Take us back to right before the 2017 draft. What were your thoughts on Mahomes, and how in any way has he surprised you as an NFL starting quarterback?
His mechanics were raw. He's admitted to me, we were sitting in meetings with him, that he didn't even know how to identify the Mike linebacker, which is like, that's 101 when you get to the line of scrimmage. But the development, the second he got drafted by Kansas City, it went from I'm concerned about the inconsistency with the decision-making and the accuracy that I saw in college to he's going to be fine. The weapons that are there, and having Andy Reid. And Andy Reid's one of the few guys in the league that really can develop quarterbacks and put them in ideal situations. And honestly, my evaluation changed the second that the Chiefs got him, and knowing that Alex Smith was here and he would have a year to learn from him and just learn how to be a pro and work out some of those kinks that he needed to work out. And obviously we saw the results last year. I don't expect to see a lot of different offensive schemes and different looks from the Chiefs. It's preseason, that's what all teams do. But I'm really intrigued to see now in year 2, with Mahomes more comfortable and having a year of experience behind him, what we're going to see. I mean, because Andy Reid's going to start dialing up more and more things and putting him in a position to make more decisions.
Well, Trent, you played the same position as Patrick at a very high level. He seems to have a great ability to understand what everybody's doing out there, and he has such a team guy like you are, where everyone knows that he's rooting for every single guy out there to do well. He seems to not only have the incredible physical tools, but he has all the other things you're looking for in a franchise quarterback.
Well, and that's the thing. So you have the physical part, you're talking about the intangibles, the leadership skills, and you talk to every player on that team, offense or defense, they complement Patrick Mahomes and what his leadership skills are, the way he interacts with all the players, the way he interacts with people around the building, in the locker room, within the community. That's the leadership skill. But the thing that tends to get overlooked on when talking about him, because he is such a physical presence in terms of the way he throws the football, is the mental aspect. Had a chance to talk to Andy Reid about that last year, not only in the preseason but throughout the regular season, and just the volume that he can manage, what he can do at the line of scrimmage. They're only going to give him more and more freedom at the line of scrimmage because of that. A year ago, Bruce Arians was in the booth with us, and he was talking about the draft process, and Mahomes was one of the guys that he put him through. And there were some of those questions, not identifying the mic, what he did, what he was required to do when he was in college. Bruce told me that was one of the smartest guys. Patrick Mahomes was one of the smartest guys that he dealt with during the draft process. And now he's talking the Andrew Lucks and the Peyton Mannings and the guys like that they really put through the ringer in the draft process. They have them come in, they go through all this mental stuff, and then a couple hours later they take them out on the field and they're like, okay, run this protection or call out this protection and throw this route. And he said Mahomes just nailed it all. He said the recall was incredible what he put him through. So Bruce was the first one that really opened my eyes to the mental aspect of Patrick Mahomes' game, and then I confirmed that with Andy Reid throughout the course of the season. So he does have all the intangibles. Physical tools, clearly there. The mental part, clearly there. And the leadership skills, which you started this conversation with, it's there. Everybody we talk to, the way he handles himself, it's I can't wait for it to get started and see how year 2 is for him.
Let's take a look at some highlights from Mahomes last week. Yes. Let's take a look at some of his work from a week ago, only in one series, but he made it look easy.
Well, this was just a shoot route to Kelsey up the sideline. He threw the ball before the defender clearly even looked. This is a dump out to the flat to Blake Bell. ended up with a couple of catches, did a nice job. And here's Carlos Hyde, the new running back, hammered it through that offensive line that created a nice hole for him. So we anticipate, I know Andy Reid said a half of football for the starting offense. If they go in and execute like that for a couple series, they're going to give them the pat on the back. Here's your hat. We've seen enough.
It was impressive. They made it look easy last week.
Yes.
Yeah. They came out on the field, and it was just bang, 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 right down. There was no struggle, and it's going to be fun to watch because I think he's better as a quarterback this year, and I think he's advanced, and that's frightening if you're a defensive coordinator thinking about what you saw a year ago compared to what you might see this year.
Well, just to jump in real quick, Pittsburgh, this is a different defense than what they saw last week in Cincinnati. This Pittsburgh defense, very prideful. They've got a lot of high draft picks over the last few years they're a big part of this defense. They're at home. This is their last preseason game at home. Their next two are on the road. So this is going to be a challenge for the Chiefs. This is something the offensive line has to step up to that challenge. I think this is going to be intriguing, at least the first few series that we're going to see in terms of what kind of tempo they come out, what type of attitude both teams bring.
It's not many teams where you can have preseason and have this kind of excitement. Every time that offense is on the field, you're just, who knows what thrilling play might happen. All right, so let's recap for everybody what's going on here. Probably wondering why we're not talking about a game taking place. Here's the deal. There was some lightning in the area. There were some heavy showers. It pushed back the starting kickoff time, local time here in Pittsburgh, to 8:30. So we're just kind of filling time. But the good news is players are out there warming up, guys. We are going to have football. The players and everybody had to leave. They made sure all the fans left their seats. Everyone was following the radar. And we were kind of in a holding pattern. But then the good news came through that the weather was moving out of the area. You see there, we had the lightning. And that's what really made sure that they had to get everybody into a place where they'd be covered and good to go. So, guys, when you look at this year's 2019 team, and I want to go to you on this, Todd. In 2013, and Andy Reid was here, they claimed 7 guys off waivers. It's going to be at least that much going the other direction this time because of how deep this team is. So really more talk about Brett and his ability, along with Andy and all the scouts, to build a team where other teams are watching to see what guys don't make the Chiefs so they can pick them up for their team.
It reminds me a lot of the Patriots. You know, for New England, looking at the draft, for a lot of years, there would be a bunch of guys that just didn't make the team. And I remember, New England fans being frustrated, saying, well, we don't draft well. Well, there's just not a lot of spots when you have a roster that is this deep. And I think that's what's going to happen this year. The draft picks that they have, obviously Frank Clark is essentially their first-round pick coming into defensive line. McCole Hardman is going to make the team coming out of Georgia, the burner that we talked about earlier. And then after that, there's a lot of question marks. Guys are really going to have to show what they can do in this game in the next 2 weeks and in practice in order to make this team, because there are not a lot of holes.
Well, and that's an important thing for the guys on this team right now to understand. The other 31 teams are watching the Chiefs because they know how deep this roster is. So there are going to be some players that get cut that are going to end up on other rosters. There's no doubt in my mind there's going to be a handful of these guys that, unfortunately, there's just not enough spots for them on the KC roster, but they will be playing in the NFL.
Trent, we're looking at Frank Clark right there. He didn't play last week. It appears for the moment that he's going to at least get some reps tonight. Obviously, his productivity as a player speaks for itself, but there's an energy he brings to the building. He really has that. He's got that juice to him. It's like whenever he's around, he fires people up. What kind of impact do you expect him to have this year?
Well, I think he's going to have a huge impact. The fact they bring in Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator, switches from a 3-4 to a 4-3. I don't think it's going to go smooth right out of the gate. I mean, I think there are going to be some growing pains, but Frank Clark is a guy that they're expecting a lot from a leadership standpoint. Another guy, Tyrann Mathieu, we talked with him yesterday in meetings. It's really when you consider the number of changes they've made on that defensive side, not only with coordinator, but with the players in key positions, there are going to have to be some new guys that step up and take over that leadership role. Justin Houston's not here. Eric Berry's not here. Dee Ford's not here. I mean, there are guys. Chris Jones will continue to he's going to have to back up the great season that he had a year ago, back it up with another great season. And then all of a sudden, Chris has a great year. That opens up things for Frank Clark. That opens up Breland Speaks or Okafor or Tano Passanio or somebody else coming off the other edge. Derek Nottie was the Rookie of the Year last year for the Chiefs within the Chiefs organization. So that front side, that's going to open things up for Ragland and Hitchens in the middle. And it's I really like what they've done on defense in the offseason. I'm excited to see them get going, and hopefully we get a chance to see Mathieu and we get a chance to see Clark tonight. Hopefully Okafor is playing as well. it'll just continue to grow throughout this preseason.
Tyron's such a playmaker. You know, he's always just had great instincts and a nose for the football. Dating back to LSU, I mean, he was all over the field. He's not the same player that he was in the first few years. He's aging a little bit, but he's still a really, really good football player. And he brings versatility. You know, you can move him around. You can play in the slot. You can play some corner. You can take him off the ball. You can blitz him off the edge. He's a matchup piece that I think, you know, when you look at what they want to do defensively, he's going to really add some value and versatility.
Well, versatility, and Trent, I want to talk about his ability to communicate on the back end. You know, he's a guy, when we were with him, clearly communication, and he wants to be a leader, and he's not going to be a rah-rah leader. Let Frank do that, but he seems to be a guy that really understands what they want to do, and a quiet leader, but knows that communication is key on that back end.
Well, and the good thing is he's been on some successful defenses, and he's been around some really successful players, and we talked to him about that. We said, what were some of the motivating factors that you chose Kansas City? Jumped out right away. Great young talent. He was aware of Patrick Mahomes and what they have talent-wise. Steve Spagnuolo, he had a ton of respect for Steve Spagnuolo and what he's done as a defensive coordinator. And then the other thing was, from a leadership standpoint, he felt like he could come in and be one of those leaders of this defense. When he was in Arizona, he had Calais Campbell and Patrick Peterson. When he was in Houston, you know, he had J.J. Watt. Jadeveon Clowney, he had some pieces in place. There wasn't that in Kansas City because the defense got completely revamped. So he and Frank Clark coming in, we talked about the energy that Frank Clark brings. Tyrann Mathieu wants to bring that leadership and bring that energy to the secondary and be that guy for the Kansas City Chiefs and for this defense. And the fact that he brought that up and wanted to talk about that last night when we had him over in the hotel, I think that says volumes about what his expectations and what his goals are for this defense this season.
All right, you two guys, you're going to get a little break because we're going to watch a little bit more of an episode of the franchise. It's a great behind-the-scenes look at all things Chiefs Kingdom.
Move to St. Joe may look just like trunks of pads and tractor trailers, but behind the scenes, Director of Team Operations Mitch Reynolds has been laying the groundwork for months.
We turn a college campus into an NFL team's headquarters for a month, and it takes everyone. Whenever you have that volume of people, there's bound to be something that comes up pretty much daily. Requests for a run to Walmart before curfew hits, and there's fans, there's toothbrushes, there's extra pillows, there's extra blankets, someone's too hot, someone's too cold. There's countless requests, but that's what I love about the job, is it switches up. It's not a monotonous job at all. Every single day is different. That's the fun part.
Mitch Reynolds is well acquainted with the inner workings of a professional football team. Before joining the Chiefs in 2011, Reynolds spent 10 training camps with the Buffalo Bills. This year, the 31-year-old NFL veteran is prepping for his 19th training camp and his 5th as a director of team operations, hoping to make Missouri Western State feel a little more like home for the players and coaches.
I meet with Coach and try to get him squared away and try to capture his vision of what he wants for training camp. I meet with each coach individually before we break for summer, make sure we have everything that they need so that they can walk in and be prepared to get to work.
As the final preparations for the move to St. Joe are nearing completion, it's finally time for the players to make their way to Missouri Western State, hoping to not forget any of the essentials along the way.
I just gotta put these shoes in here and then put some shorts and underwear and socks in there. Definitely gotta bring this though.
That is essential on every trip.
You got to have a good old Madden on deck. Hopefully I gotta get 20 so I can play with the 70 overall Colin Saunders.
Is that funny?
What is that girl looking at? What is you looking at, Mama?
What was that?
Did you find us? Say hi.
Is that what you was looking for? Yeah.
This little girl here is my beautiful daughter, Cambridge Valier. She was born January 22nd. Yeah, I've been trying to learn the dad life one step at a time every day, but you know, it's real easy when you know, loving on a little girl like that looks like that too. So every day, like I said, you learn something new. It's almost like the game of football where you think you got it, and you know, and then you find something else out, and it's just like I never knew that was supposed to happen. So it's definitely a blessing, and you know, I'm happy to be her dad. The day she came was my first day of practice at the Senior Bowl. It's gonna be KAMBR. I think it was perfect timing, honestly. Like, it kind of gave me that jolt of energy. And I feel like from that first day up until the game, I kind of elevated every day. You know, I credit her with that because when you're working towards providing for somebody, it gives you a different viewpoint and a different mindset. Being a father, you know, it's different, but you know, I'm just trying to be the best one I can be to make sure that, you know, she lives a great life and all of the stuff that my mother and my father did for me. So I'm just trying to take it up a level and be the best parent I can be. All good to go.
All right, baby, be safe and do what you gotta do.
All right.
All right, King McGee.
Oh, it's sad, mama. All right, baby. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
They will be up there soon.
Starting route to Missouri Western State University.
Definitely a little bit nervous. You know, it's the first camp. You know, I think right now my focus is just proving that this is where I belong and I can compete with this level of competition. So a little bit of the nerves have left just because, you know, it's what I love doing. So I'm all good. Hope I didn't overpack. You know, it's a different feel. Obviously, this is my first team I've ever been on, but in my opinion, I think that this team is so concerned with winning and being successful that they take all of the extra out of it. You know, it's a young group too. I think that helps, and that's part of the reason why it's so comfortable. You know, I'm just a little drop in this whole pond as far as the team. And you know, we get like the room key and all that stuff.
Room keys are gonna be right
through this hall right here. Oh, this door. I'm gonna do my job as well as I can, and I think it's gonna be a tremendous year for us. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm good.
What's up?
Good.
Yeah?
Just getting set up and
Sweet.
all that kind
You
of
ready
stuff.
to roll?
Yeah.
418.
Take advantage of the day. When you get an opportunity in this game, you make a play. 1, 2, 3.
He dives to the end zone. Touchdown! It's going to be intercepted. Kendall Fuller in the back of the end zone. Thrown long, and the catch is made. Touchdown! Kansas! 9 yards after contact by Damian Williams to the 5. Sammy Watkins breaks tackles. Touchdown! Kansas City!
Culture is what you make and how you grow it. That's what we're doing. We're gonna grow it together.
Going to Kansas City, the Honey Badger has another new.
We're trying to create competition from the first man down to the 90th man, and it really never stops.
Frank Clark of the Seattle Seahawks will soon.
So the real 55.
Have the Madden shoot. You want me on the Madden cover? Let's get it! Let's go, baby!
No, we about to show.
How about those teams?
That's what we're talking about.
If you love the Chiefs, if you want to know what it's like inside this building, inside this locker room, the Chiefs Official Podcast Network is for you. We'll give you all the breakdowns, the X's and O's, and we'll share our players' stories and let you really get to know them away from the field. This is for Chiefs Kingdom. The stuff you never knew you needed to hear, it's all right here. The Chiefs Official Podcast Network. We're just getting started.
Take advantage of the day. When you get an opportunity in this game, you make a play. 1, 2, 3.
He dives to the end zone. Touchdown! It's going to be intercepted. Kendall Fuller in the back of the end zone. Thrown long, and the catch is made. Touchdown! Kansas! 9 yards after contact by Damian Williams to the 5. Kansas City.
Welcome back to Heinz Field. Anxiously awaiting the start of week 2 of the preseason. Kansas City Chiefs on the road at Heinz Field to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We had a weather situation. There was lightning in the area. There was also heavy rain. So they pushed back the kickoff time to 8:30 local time. And fortunately, Mother Nature now cooperating. So we can go to BJ Kissel. BJ, how are things down on the field?
Things are looking good. The guys are staying out here on the sidelines. Looks like we're about 15, 16 minutes away from kick. We got the fans back out here in the stands, and everybody seems to be ready for football right now.
BJ, I want to stick with you. Colin Saunders is a guy we didn't get to talk a lot about last week. 3rd-round pick. He's a big body. How do you think he fits into the Chiefs in 2019?
I think that defensive line group is one of the deepest groups on the roster right now, and Colin Saunders is obviously a guy, if you followed anything that he did throughout his career at Western Illinois, is a guy that you're going to want to keep an eye on just because I've spent some time talking to him. I had a chance to talk with him down at the Senior Bowl, and one thing that he's always asked about is the fact that he's only 6 feet tall, and that growing up in St. Louis, he went to Parkway Central High School, and he was a 285-pound running back in high school. That's how athletic he was, and he uses that athleticism up front. He's going to be your quicker, kind of your Warren Sapp type guy as far as just a player comp, and that he's not going to necessarily overpower you, but he's quick, he's hard to block, and no matter where he's played, whether it was in high school or college at Western Illinois or the week he had down at the Senior Bowl, guys had trouble blocking him wherever he's been, and he always carries that chip on his shoulder of even going through the high school recruitment process, people telling him that he was too short, that you have to be 6'4", 300 pounds to play defensive line in the NFL, which is why he always points to a guy like Aaron Donald, not to make that comparison, not to put it on him, but Aaron Donald's only 6 feet tall, and we see what that guy can do. So that is definitely a guy that he looks up to, and I'm excited for the opportunity he has tonight. Saw him flash a little bit last week, but guy's got a lot of energy, always got a smile on his face, a lot of fun to be around.
BJ, good stuff. All right, guys, let's bring it upstairs and talk about Saunders. What was your evaluation of him heading into the draft?
I really liked him, and I got to see him at the Senior Bowl, as BJ was mentioning. First of all, he does a great backflip, which you don't expect from a 300-pounder. But he plays with really good quickness. He's got quick feet. I think he's stout versus the run, even though he doesn't have that ideal length. And he was a playmaker. He was a finisher. Over 34 tackles for loss in his career, over 200 tackles, period. And he does a great job of standing offensive linemen up, locating the ball, disengaging, and then going and making the play. And that's what I think he's going to bring to the team. I think he's probably going to be very likely going to be a backup on this very deep defensive front. But I think he's going to be part of the rotation, and he will contribute this year.
Trent, you were out of camp for a bunch of days. What were your thoughts on him?
Well, I just love the fact that B.J. Kissel, in the span of 2 minutes, compared him to Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald. And then he says, but I don't want to put expectations on him. I said that one's a Hall of Famer and one's the best defensive player in the NFL. So, BJ, I love it. I love those expectations. And here's the thing. He's 6 feet tall. Derek Nottie is 6'1".
Right.
So there's a certain player that they're looking for. They want guys that are quick in the interior part of the defensive line that can get penetration in the backfield. Also, to create gaps in lanes for the linebackers to make the tackle. That's what the Steve Spagnuolo defense is about. You stay in your lane. This is about freelancing. Use that quickness, get upfield in your gap, and then create the gap for the linebackers to come up and make the tackles in the run game. You look back a week ago, only 21 yards they allowed on the ground against Cincinnati. This is going to be a real challenge. The Steelers, they pride themselves on a physical offensive line. They pride themselves on a running game. So that defensive line, this first unit, getting an opportunity to show what growth they've got. I'm really looking forward to that.
And Spagnuolo, if you go study his history, and it's a lot of coordinators are like this, but when he's had good depth and good defensive linemen up front, that's when he's had his best defensive units. And I think when you start to look at it with Alex Okafor, Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Frank Clark, Breland Speaks, Saunders added to it, Tano Passano, and I mean, all of these, you've got now almost 8 players that can be impact defensive linemen, so the depth is there for there to be success in this defensive system.
And think about the rotation that he's used, Spagnuolo, in his history. Like when he had the Super Bowl success with the Giants, I mean, they were rotating guys in there. It wasn't just 4 guys getting after it. I mean, he had success as a head coach in St. Louis with the Rams. The offense wasn't doing very well, but that defense that he had at that time, I mean, that was an impressive defense that would get after the quarterback. So you look at his track record, and even when he was in Philadelphia, you look at that track record. He likes to rotate bodies, and you just rattled off 8 athletic guys that can get upfield and get after the quarterback.
All right, let's focus on the second-round pick, Juan Thornhill, because he's the guy throughout camp. A lot of people are thinking this guy might start week 1 or certainly be a big part of the rotation on the back end. I know you're a fan of Thornhill. What is it that he's going to bring to the Chiefs that you think can have an impact?
Well, I think the versatility is the first thing that stands out. I mean, he's played corner. He's played that overhang position where you're kind of playing just outside the box. He's played free safety. And I like his instincts as a player. Now, he's a rookie, and it's going to take some time. But 44-inch vertical and the ability to go up and make plays on the ball, I think, are the two things that stand out. And then the fact that he jumps the ball early on some throws and has good natural instincts. It'll come to him. It may take a little while, but it will come to him, and he should become a really important part of this defense because you can move him around and do different things.
Todd, I agree with you 100% when you talk about the athleticism and how he compares to other safeties out there. But how about the veterans that he has back there to learn from? Tyrann Mathieu, a guy that understands defense, understands leadership, understands coverages and how to get down into position in the box to make a tackle in the run game. And then Daniel Sorensen, who's been here for a long time, has played multiple safety positions. He's really more impactful when he's down in that box, down in the run support. But he's also another guy that's an unselfish player that Juan Thornhill can learn from. So he's got 2 guys that he really can take advantage of and learn football from.
That's a good point.
I want to bring up another unselfish guy, Mitchell Schwartz, who we got a chance to talk to. This is a guy who can depend on. He's out there every single week. He's an interesting guy. There's a lot more to him than just a very good football player, but he seems to sort of epitomize the offensive line group, that they all excel. They don't need a lot of attention. They don't need us talking about him, but he's a guy who's been an Iron Man for this team.
You know, he has been. You look at the consecutive start streak that he has and the consecutive snaps that he's played, it's been pretty tremendous. And you consider the Chiefs brought him in from Cleveland, and he's a year ago didn't make the Pro Bowl, but guess what? He was first-team All-Pro. So he's established himself on that side. He's got a lot of respect around the league from coaches and players, and he continues to get better and talks about, you know, the chemistry that the offensive line has. And great talking to him about food. There's another guy he was talking about, Eric Fisher, just how Eric Fisher has grown as a player and how he's continued to develop, and really the chemistry of that whole entire offensive line group.
You know better than anyone. It's nice to have those bookends.
That's right. That's right.
Now, guys, when you look at these guys as they're getting prepared, this offensive line, the responsibility of protecting Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's the franchise. So when you were a quarterback, did you feel like guys, it's like a responsibility they feel like to protect you? And I imagine for this group right now that's their guy. Patrick is it. And what a great opportunity for those guys up front to protect for the best quarterback in the NFL.
Well, and I think that's the thing. You have to understand what Patrick is as a quarterback. I was mainly a pocket guy. Yes, I would pick up a first down every now and then and would scramble around a little bit. But I was mainly a pocket guy. Mahomes, he extends plays. The way he's moving around, and we had a chance to talk to Mitchell Schwartz about that, and he said, you know what, you just have to stay on your block. You understand that as the play is going on and all of a sudden you see defensive linemen take off and start running from one sideline to the other, you're like, uh-oh, I guess Patrick just was back there on the move because we gotta continue blocking. So it's nice to have the luxury of a quarterback like that.
Guys, we've had a lot of chance here because of Mother Nature to talk about a lot of things.
I think we're talking about everyone on the entire roster.
But a unique situation to come back, Todd, just that they have so much expectations. Dealing with success sometimes even more challenging than dealing with failure.
Yeah, and I think there's enough leadership in place, and I think that's critical. And Mahomes, as we talked about earlier, he's in complete control of this team. He brings such good character to the team. And Andy Reid, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yep. All right, we would step away. When we come back, we're going to play some football at Heinz Field. The Chiefs and the Steelers next. Welcome to Pittsburgh. Week 2 preseason matchup, the Kansas City Chiefs on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good evening to everyone. We have got you covered. My name is Ari Wolf. To my left, Todd McShay, ESPN football analyst, and everybody knows Trent Green, NFL analyst. Guys, let's jump right in. Last week, we saw Patrick Mahomes for a series, and he was virtually flawless, Trent.
Well, if there was any doubt that the reigning MVP was going to come out and perform well, he put that to rest quickly. He was a perfect 4 for 4 for 66 yards, and on the one drive that he did have, it started with this opening pass to Travis Kelce. You're going to see Kelce on a wheel route to the outside one-on-one in coverage. Mahomes throws the ball before Kelsey even looks. He lays it right into the basket, and the defender was completely lost. He didn't even know where the ball was. So Mahomes performed outstanding, got that offense rolling. He's going to have at least 2 or 3 series tonight, maybe even a whole half.
And some weapons emerged. Some rookies looked pretty good last week, Tom. McCole Hardman, the 2nd-round pick, and the 6th-round pick, Darwin Thompson.
Yeah, let's start with Hardman. I mean, you talk about speed and explosiveness. This guy brings 4.33 speed to this team. Tyreek Hill, he's another weapon. Get him the ball in reverses, get the ball in his hands. That's what they want to do. They'll continue to add to the arsenal in terms of what he can do as a player, but right now it's just about getting him in the open field. And then Darwin Thompson, I was impressed. This guy, I didn't know a whole lot about him coming in, but the burst and explosiveness that he has and the ability to catch the football really adds to this offensive system and really fits what they want to do.
Now, things are changing a lot on the defensive side of the ball with new defense coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. Derek Notty's a guy in his 2nd year, and he can really help out against the run.
I love Notty. I loved him coming into last year. I thought he was a steal as a 3rd-round pick coming out of Florida State. You're going to see this play. This shows you everything you need to know about Derek Notty. The ability to get that quick first step, explosive power, locate the ball, and then go make the play. He's a finisher as a football player. Really think that Notty's going to even have a better year than he had last year when he emerged as a starter in Week 5.
Tano Passanio, Trent, really made an impression. He's quite a physical specimen. He's looking like he's trying to earn some time on the roster.
Well, you consider 6'7", 290. This is a 3rd-year player that when he started with the Chiefs, they moved him to outside linebacker because they're playing a 3-4 defense. Now with the 4-3 and Steve Spagnuolo, he's going to benefit greatly by getting his hand in the dirt. He had a sack a week ago, continued to put pressure and bring it off the edge. He benefited from the fact that he got a lot of reps last week because of injuries to the other defensive ends. Outstanding job by him.
The Chiefs look great in Week 1. We can't wait to kick off Week 2 when we come back. It's the Chiefs and the Steelers. Chiefs preseason football is brought to you by Bud Light. Keep it crisp. Ticketmaster, the official marketplace of the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. And Park University, the official higher education partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Good evening once again to Chiefs Kingdom. We had a weather delay that pushed back the start of tonight's game by an hour, but we're just about set. They're out for the coin toss, and let's go down to the field to BJ Kissel.
Hey, thanks, Ari. Another guy to keep in mind to watch tonight, much like Derek Notty and Tano Passanio that you just mentioned, another young defensive player is Breland Speaks. He's coming off a great game last week where he had the sack and the quarterback hit, and then followed that up with a great week of practice where he actually picked off Patrick Mahomes a couple of different times. He had a chance to speak with the media as far as that switch to the 4-3 defense. It's been a big storyline all offseason. He's another one of those players that's really going to benefit from that switch. He said that he can play faster. He doesn't have to think as much. There's not as many things going on for him in this defense, and we've talked about it before. If this defense is going to take a step forward, it can't just be Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark. The young guys, those 2nd, 3rd-year guys, all have to take a step forward. The Derek Notties, the Tano Passanios, and Breland Speaks, and we're hoping we can see that development carry on from last week in a good game, carry over to tonight.
Thank you very much, BJ Kissel, who also is an outstanding weatherman for us as we were dealing with the weather delay. We are set for football at Heinz Field. The Chiefs won the toss. They defer, so they will kick off. Chiefs preseason football is presented by Park University, and we've got 15 minutes on the clock, and these fans have been very patient, and we are finally ready for football. Harrison Butker to kick things off for the Chiefs. Johnny Holton is back deep for the Steelers. And here we go, Week 2. Pretty short kick. Holton's going to come out from his own 8-yard line. And he's trying to get to the edge, but the Chiefs stay in their lanes, and he's brought down at the 28-yard line. Here's What to Watch, presented by the University of Kansas Health System, the official healthcare provider of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, first off, we want to check what's going on with the run defense. A week ago against Cincinnati, they gave up 274 yards, but only 21 yards rushing. Second thing is receiver roster battle. We know about McCole Hardman, but DeMarcus Robinson, Marcus Kemp, Byron Pringle, who are going to be the guys that secure that next spot? And then secondary depth. We know about Kendall Fuller and Bashad Breeland, but Charvarius Ward and Mark Fields, Herb Miller, those guys, who's going to step up to fill out that roster?
Mason Rudolph hands it off to James Conner, who picks up a few yards. There's Steve Spagnuolo, first-year defensive coordinator with the Chiefs, has had a ton of success in the National Football League and another chance to see his guys under the lights. And the starters, we've been told, will play most of the first half. Obviously, that's subject to change, but that's the plan going in. And there is Frank Clark. I know a lot of people very excited to see 55 out there. Rudolph keeps it on the ground. It's Connor. And he is short of the first down. And it's time now for the starting lineups, brought to you by Sprint. Well, that defense, Trent, who are some guys you're really going to be looking for tonight?
Well, it's exciting to see Frank Clark and Alex Okafor out there. They didn't play last week, so I'm looking forward to them and see their continued growth. And obviously, when you look at Breland, Basad Breland, the corner, he's got to be that guy. Who's going to establish themselves as the corner that's really going to separate themselves in this starting corner battle, and then also to be the guy in the nickel and the dime and establish themselves moving forward.
Rudolph to throw, it's incomplete. So guys, unlike a week ago when the Bengals converted multiple third downs and got the touchdown, this week the Chiefs defense gets them out 3 and out.
And really nice job, I think, by the defensive front. It gave up some yards on the first 2 plays, but then you get a little bit of pressure, force the quarterback to get the ball out quickly, and that's what's going to help this secondary moving forward. I think this defensive front has got to be the key and be as deep as we think it is this season in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback and being able to rotate 8 guys in.
Well, Tarvarius Ward was the one that was in coverage there. Excellent position and forced the throw to the outside.
McCall Hardman with it. And Hardman, a nice return. Gets it out across the 30-yard line, and we'll get our first look tonight at Patrick Mahomes, the reigning NFL MVP. Last week he was perfect, 4 for 4. And he even went down near the goal line instead of taking a hit, showing some maturity. His 3rd year in the league, 2nd as the starter. There's his numbers last time he played here at Heinz Field, 6 touchdowns. And that quarterback rating off the charts at 154.8. So here we go, 1st and 10 Chiefs. Damian Williams is in the game to start. And Mahomes completes it to Travis Kelce.
Interesting that the Steelers decided to come out, and their first coverage of the game was man-to-man coverage. The Chiefs were in a spread, and it was a matter of just a little pitch and catch, picking up 5 yards to Kelce.
Pittsburgh shows blitz. Now they back off. And the blitz does come. Mahomes going to take off and run, and he'll slide after picking up the first down. He recognized a hole in the middle of the defense, and he takes advantage.
Well, that's the other thing, too. If you're going to play man-to-man, it's going to give Mahomes the opportunity to take off and run and pick up some first downs.
Safety coming off the edge, and Mahomes recognized it during his cadence, and one-on-one pressure coming off the side. You got an ability to step up and go get the first down, and he was smart enough to slide after getting to the sticks.
Gain of 8, 1st and 10. Mahomes gets it to Tyreek Hill, and Hill's going to be tackled.
Pass complete to number 10, Tyreek Hill.
And let's take a look at the lineups, brought to you by Sprint. And they've got all the weapons out there. All the starters are there. Be interesting to see how it goes. The offensive line was very good a week ago.
How about that, Todd? 3 plays now, man-to-man coverage all 3 times, and 2 of the 3 plays blitz in the secondary nickel guy off the slot. Not your typical second preseason game.
The Steelers want to test themselves, too. They want to see what they have.
Mahomes moving to his left, the throw to Hill, got a hand on it, couldn't bring it in.
Well, that time they faked the nickel coming off the slot, dropped back into coverage, went to a cover 2, and so Tyreek Hill just trying to work into that window, like that 25 to 27-yard window that you can hit in cover 2 over on the boundary. The problem is there was no presence in the flat, so the corner was able to just drift back, and you weren't able to drop it in because there wasn't that underneath route program.
3rd down. Jones with time. Looking for Damian Williams, can't get to it. Chiefs will be forced to punt. Dustin Colquitt coming out, the 15-year vet. So not quite the same start, guys, from a week ago offensively.
No, and as Trent alluded to earlier, this is a better defense that they're facing this week. And so this is a much better challenge, and it's going to be interesting to see how long the starters stay on the field, because they want to start to develop in game action some of that rhythm that they have in terms of throwing the ball and with Mahomes and his different receivers and weapons.
We will step away. Both teams have had the rock one time. We're coming back, just getting started from Heinz Field.
65 toss power trap. What does it look like?
Hey, look for a 65 toss power trap.
Gloucester, tell him 65 toss power trap. That might pop wide open, Rats.
It's in there!
Yeah! Nice going, baby. Yes, sir, Rats. Yes, sir, boys. Woo!
That's one of the most famous plays in Chiefs history, and it never gets old.
No, go watch that over and over again. Second drive for the Steelers. Start out just inside their own 25-yard line. Chiefs forced a 3-and-out on the Steelers' opening series. They complete it out in the flat. Ball's out, though, and it goes out of bounds. They're going to have to rule whether or not he had possession of the football. Kendall Fuller there in there defensively.
He didn't get there. He didn't get home. And Frank Clark, you could see, he just jumped off the screen to me with his speed and ability to get around the offensive lineman. And what was a quick throw. That is different than the Chiefs have really had in terms of the last few years in edge rushers.
Out in the flat, James Conner, and he cuts it back, and he has the Steelers first down.
Well, this is just a lapse in coverage because there's nobody that goes out on the swing with Connor. He's just out in open space. You see that ball go down between his legs, and he's fortunate that he was able to hang on to it. But
that's a great look with our Bud Light Hyper-Mo. We'll get to see that a few times throughout tonight. Really cool slow motion looks. So 1st and 10 for the Steelers. Gain of 3 for Connor. Good job there against the run from the Chiefs defense.
Goes to Connor.
Chris Jones coming off that incredible season a year ago. 15.5 sacks, 40 total tackles. Rudolph buying some time. And they finally get rid of it down the field, and that's incomplete. Smith-Schuster, the intended target. Good coverage there from Breland.
Great coverage by Breland, and that time they didn't have, right here is Thornhill, you got Sorensen in the back, and this is the route that's going to happen. You got coverage on the wheel route up to the outside, and excellent job in coverage. This is if they aren't going to get the sack, the quarterback has nothing to do but try and throw the ball away. Just an excellent job there by Bashad Breland in one-on-one coverage. We didn't see that last week where they took Matthew out and put Sorensen and Thornhill in, but this time this is another snap here with the two of them in there at the safety spot.
Rudolph on 3rd down is going to get hit and go down. The Chiefs defense comes up with the play. Okafor gets the sack.
Alex Okafor now on the opposite side of Frank Clark. This is going to be fun to watch this season. You see the ability with his hands just quickly to get off that block, turn the corner, the body control, and then finishing with the big sack.
Another chance to look at McCole Hardman. Good directional punt. He will not have a chance, but decent field position for the Chiefs. We'll take a timeout with everybody. We're coming right back for the second drive for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, last year at Heinz Field, what a breakout performance. 6 touchdown passes. And if everybody around the NFL had already gotten aware of what this man had to offer, look at those numbers, 23 or 28, 326 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that came in week 2 here at Heinz Field. Carlos Hyde is in the game now at tailback. And the give is to Hyde.
23 of 28. That's hard to do in 7-on-7 drills.
That was his whole season, though. It was like every week. It was like every week something was coming up that just made you shake your head. He kept that consistency all season long, and that's why he was awarded MVP. And that's why this season there's high expectations for him and the entire team.
Hill in motion. Instead it's Hyde. Gets a block and gets across the 40.
And up goes to Hyde.
Picks up the first down.
That's the thing that Hill does. The versatility that he brings and the scare that he puts in the defense. It opens up things for this offensive line and for the run game.
Well, and we touched on it during the rain delay, talking about the different running backs and the different approaches that they have. Carlos Hyde is an in-between the tight ends, in-between the tackles kind of runner, getting an opportunity to slash through, and the last 2 carries he's done just that.
I think Mahomes recognized he didn't like what he had out there against that defensive coverage, and he just gets rid of it.
Yeah, you'll see more of that, Todd. You brought up the fact Tyreek Hill, the way they utilize him. A week ago, we saw that with McCole Hardman, especially second quarter and second half, the way they utilized him. You get that speed, and defense has to take away, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, does he have the ball? Nope, Hyde has it up the middle for 8-yard gain on the last carry.
On the ground, it's Hyde. He's got some room to work with. Ball's out, though. Recovered by the Steelers at their own 48-yard line. Davis with the recovery. Offense coordinator Eric Bieniemy can't be happy about that. Steelers have the ball following the turnover when we come back. Chiefs preseason football is brought to you by All Copy Products, the official supplier of digital office technology for the Kansas City Chiefs. For more information about All Copy Products, go to allcopyproducts.com. See Mahomes getting coached up there by his offense coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. Carlos Hyde with the fumble, so Steelers with the football near midfield. Rudolph still in at quarterback. And that is caught. And then the ball comes out there. Herb Miller in coverage. It appeared he ripped it out. And they're saying it's Chiefs football. Damian Wilson's got it in his hands. What do you think, Trey? That looks like a catch and a fumble.
It does. I don't know if there's enough there to overturn it. I know they're going to review it because all turnovers get reviewed. He secures the ball. He takes a couple of steps. Looks like he's trying to make a football move in terms of driving it up the field or pushing with his legs up the field.
Nice job by Herb Miller, too. Limiting yards after catch and then having the awareness to rip that ball out.
And Trent, Andy Reid specifically mentioned Herb Miller and that he's playing good football. This is a 21-year-old undrafted guy out of Florida Atlantic.
Well, if you want to make an impression as an undrafted guy, a week ago he had an interception and 3 tackles, and now already tonight in the first quarter, he's got a forced fumble.
Let's go to BJ.
Guys, I just got an injury update that veteran safety Tyrann Mathieu is questionable to return with a shoulder issue. Now, it doesn't seem like it's anything that's that serious. He is officially questionable, but this will give them an opportunity for the young guys to get some more looks out there, for especially Juan Thornhill.
Mahomes missed on his last 3 attempts. And they got Henne in the game right now, and Henne makes the throw. It's complete. Demarcus Robinson makes the catch, fourth-year man out of Florida. And Trent, we touched on this last week, how terrific it is, not just for Patrick Mahomes, but the whole offense to know you've got a vet like Chad Henne back there.
Well, he's done a lot in this league. He started for multiple teams and has proven himself. A week ago, they only gave him a series. I believe he was 2 for 4. But they're not worried about figuring out whether Chad Henne can play. They need to find out who their third guy, and that's why Shermer and Litton played so much a week ago. But it's nice to know you can have that veteran guy in there that's been there and done that in Chad Henne.
Henne, pocket collapse, and he's sacked back at the 49-yard line.
And that's one of the big differences, obviously, with Mahomes and Henne. Henne just doesn't have that mobility to avoid a sack like that. He's got to get the ball out quickly, and he's got to have open receivers, unlike Mahomes. But Henne, I agree with you. I think Henne is one of the better, more reliable backups in this league. A guy that you know what you're getting and can come in the game if something were to happen to Mahomes and can drive this offense down the field.
Well, it doesn't appear anything's happened to Mahomes. He's got a visor on and laughing with security over there. So, no. Even though they said a half, that's not going to happen.
Great special teams coverage. No place to go. The Chiefs were down there in a hurry, so the Steelers will be all the way back up at their own 8-yard line when they start their next drive. Just getting going here in Pittsburgh. No score. Kingdom Blonde Ale is now available across the kingdom for a limited time in specially marked 15 packs. Made by Chiefs fans for Chiefs fans. Kingdom Blonde Ale is a bright and tasty brew that goes great with your tailgate. Well, welcome back to Heinz Field. Murray Wolf, Todd McShay, Trent Green, BJ Kissel down on the field. So glad you're with us. No score. First quarter game was delayed about an hour due to some lightning in the area. James Conner on the carry. He's tackled at the 14-yard line. Thornhill up in there along with Darren Lee. Darren Lee had 8 tackles last week. They have very good coverage linebacker, but certainly can do it against the run as well.
He's one of the guys that really stood out last week to me. Just seeing his speed and his ability to work sideline to sideline as a run defender.
And that's really what he was drafted for when you consider where the Jets took him very high in the draft because of his speed sideline to sideline and just never developed into that for the Jets. He's a great special teams player, great coverage linebacker, getting an real opportunity here in Kansas City.
Demontre Wade came up there number 40. Now, he got ejected last week for a helmet-to-helmet, so he's out there trying to make the most of this opportunity. He played his college ball at Murray State, 24 years of age. First and 10 for the Steelers. A little less than 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. And we've got movement up front.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
Take a look at the defense, guys.
Well, first, Kendall Fuller is going to get the tackle, knocks the ball out. And then you see Okafor coming around the edge and getting the sack from the backside. Of course, we just saw Herb Miller punch the ball out, get the fumble, and the Chiefs recover, giving them good field position. Defense has played very well. They got an opportunity here.
You can already see the difference.
Oh, it's
just these first 2 preseason games.
Well, and if you think about it, I know we're joking around a little bit about Mahomes. Hey, he's going to play half, and he's already out of the game. You look at what's on there defensively now. They've already, Herb Miller was in there. You had Wade in there. The other corner, Thornhill's in. With the slight injury to Matthew, I don't think it's anything serious. But even Breland Speaks is now in there because they've got Clark already out. So you're seeing some young guys getting an early opportunity here to come in and make an impression.
Over the middle, and it's dropped. Grimble had his hands on it, but couldn't bring it in.
You're going to see a gap in the middle of the field here. Sorensen drips back. Just looks like a cover 2 tight end with a wraparound in between the linebackers. And Chiefs have to be able to get some pressure on that. I just mentioned that a number of the backups are in, and if you look at the Steelers, the majority of their starting offensive line is still in there. Even though Roethlisberger isn't playing tonight, James Conner's still in, and that starting offensive line. So big challenge here for this for a lot of these young players getting a chance here, especially here on 3rd and long.
Steelers 0 for 2 on 3rd down so far. Rudolph the throw, ball's up in the air, almost picked off. Ben Neiman was right there. Almost had a chance. The interception.
Who's at it again? We keep talking about him. Herb Miller. Here's another one. They're going to throw right at him again. He comes in. He punches it. Watch that right arm come in. Punches across. Gets the ball up in the air. Neiman nearly comes up with the interception, but Miller just keeps making plays.
That's 2 big plays by him.
Hardman. They try to show off that speed, but he's tripped up. Loss on the return. Locke came up there to get Hardman. Well, you know what, guys? You got to learn the speed in the NFL, and he just learned it right there. That maybe he could have got away with that in college.
Yeah, Dave Toe's not real happy with that one. Even though the most staggering stat that he had, that Todd keeps telling me all these stats, is that he averaged 20 yards a punt return. You know, Toad's all about taking some chances and taking some risks on special teams. He's done that throughout his career, whether it be in Chicago or Kansas City. And McCole just he got caught on that one, so he's trying to that speed catches you a little bit at that angle.
Yeah, good thing for Hardman, though, he stays on the field, so he doesn't have to hear about it right now.
I think in the preseason, you're just trying to give yourself a shot.
Right.
He'll learn.
Penny completes it to Yelder, and Yelder picks up close to 5 on 1st down. Deion Yelder, second-year man out of Western Kentucky, and guys, he flashed not only as a tight end, but in special teams last week.
And it's going to be big watching, just looking at this tight end position and behind Kelsey, who's going to be the guy that steps up. And we've talked about it. Is it going to be Bell? Is it going to be Yelder? Special teams, they both made plays last week. So this is a real interesting competition for that number 2 tight end spot.
On the ground, it's Hyde, and they try to push the pile, and he's going to be about a yard shy. And guys, tight end is one of the most interesting positions for the Chiefs. They have arguably the best tight end in the NFL in Travis Kelce. But then these 2 guys, Blake Bell, Deion Yelder, they have different skill sets, and it'd be real interesting to see who ends up the number 2 tight end.
Yeah, we just got done talking about them. Bell was was second a week ago, and Yelder, it looks like Yelder got in there as the second tight end this week. They're both going to play. Kaiser even had a big impact last week when you consider he had a fumble recovery in special teams and had 3 catches. So that second tight end battle is going to continue on through the entire preseason. I mentioned a little bit ago about the Steelers' starting offensive line still being in. The Chiefs have their starting offensive line is in as well.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Andy reading a conversation there. I think Andy might have tried to get the timeout before the play clock expired. Instead of 3rd and 1, it's 3rd and 6.
Then you want to give Henny an opportunity to work with the first team offensive line and have some of the protection in case he has to play at some point.
Yelder makes the play, goes up with his hands, guys, makes a real nice catch.
Really good timing on that throw. Gets the ball out right on time and is able to drop it in just over the defender. You can see that's a veteran quarterback who knows what he's seeing defensively and knows that he's got to get that ball out quickly.
Well, and the conversion percentages drop drastically when you go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6. And Henny didn't hesitate. He stepped back there, planted his foot in the ground, even though there was a little bit of pocket pressure up in his face. He threw that ball over the outside shoulder. Yelder looks like limping a little bit, but excellent catch, excellent location of that football, and picked up the 1st down.
Carlos Hyde, the offensive line off the left side, pushes the pile, about a 5-yard gain, but there is a flag on the play.
Either an illegal shift or illegal formation.
Illegal motion, offense, 2 players moving at the same time, never set. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Play action, Henny down the middle of the field, and it's incomplete. He's looking for Hardman.
Well, he got lucky on that one. There was a safety back there. It looks like his man-to-man coverage. You had 3 guys going on streak routes, and I know you're trying to hit Hardman in the seam, but there's a safety back there. Look at the safety up here at the top of your screen. He's the one that's right in there. You have one guy bending across the middle. Throw that ball behind. When you got 3 verticals, there needs to be more separation there because that safety can just sit there and cover all 3 of them.
Almost looked like miscommunication between he and Hardman.
I almost got to believe Hardman was supposed to inside release because he had another receiver to the outside on the seam up the numbers.
It's Hyde.
You see how I defend the veteran quarterback and throw it on the rookie receiver?
I'm buying it.
Right.
Well, that should be the final play of the first quarter. Well, tonight's game got off to a late start. Started about an hour late. We're 1 quarter in. We're coming back for the start of the second quarter.
Of the first quarter.
Welcome back to Chiefs preseason football. No score after 1 quarter. Third down coming up, and we have a very special guest. General Manager Brett Veach is here. And Brett, this is your first couple of weeks to see the guys that you brought in. What were your initial takeaways from a week ago, some of the new guys?
Yeah, we're certainly excited about the new guys we brought in, and I think all these guys have come in with the right attitude and the right mentality to contribute right away, and so far so good.
Let's take a look here at the third down play. Steelers had that sniffed out pretty good. It's going to be incomplete and force the Chiefs to punt. 2 guys in particular seemed to shine right away last week. McCole Hardman and Darwin Thompson. How excited were you to see them come out and look so comfortable?
Yeah, it's always good when the guys come out the first time under the bright lights and at Arrowhead Stadium and perform the way they did. And, there were signs of this. These guys did a great job in OTAs and certainly early on in training camp they were flashing. So it was certainly great to see them get out there in the Chiefs uniform in front of our crowds and perform well.
You brought in Hardman in the second round. On the defensive side, really the next 3 picks, I think, were all on the defensive side. Tell me what you've seen from Juan Thornhill, who I really like coming out of Virginia, and Colin Saunders as well on the defensive side.
Yeah, well, first with Juan, and we were kind of surprised that he fell to 63. We were certainly fortunate there, but Juan's a guy with corner skill set, and the need for those type of guys in this league with all the passing offenses. But he's a guy with tremendous instincts. He's another guy that's really smart, and he's caught on to this game really well, and he's getting some extended early time here with the first unit, which is great to see. But he's kind of come on right away and picked things up quickly. And training camp, it seems like he's making a play every single day. And then, with Colin, you just can't have enough of those big guys. And when you have a guy like him with his athletic skill set sitting there in the third round, it's never a bad idea to add some depth with that defensive line.
You have to be happy with the depth of this defensive line. It seems like it's a deeper group than it was even a year ago.
Yeah, sure. And, with Coach Spags coming on, and everyone knows his report, his track record, likes to have a deep bench at that position, likes to do a lot of different things, stunts games. So we certainly felt what we were able to do in the free agency period, and then complement that in the draft, and gave him and gave our team a nice bench to work with, and we should have a deep rotation.
A lot is made of draft picks and the process that goes into draft picks, but the undrafted guys, the guy like Herb Miller, who stood out the last 2 weeks. Interception a week ago, 3 tackles tonight. He already has a forced fumble, and he's been involved in 2 knocked away passes past his defense. So what goes into the process of evaluating those undrafted guys, and what's the process like after the draft happens to get those guys signed?
Well, any GM will tell you that the most crazy time during that weekend is certainly right after the draft, and it's guys go quick, and when you have a guy that you really want, you're on the line for a lot of time. If they may go somewhere, you may miss out on some guys, but the staff I have back in KC, they do a phenomenal job, and we work that bottom end of the board, the 6th, 7th round, and we put a lot of time and effort into that, so that when the draft does end, we can kind of pick our guys very quickly and then move on from one to the next. And I think it's been a good process. It's something that I learned from John and from Chris Ballard. So it's been a great process, and I think that's where you really find these hidden gems.
Brett, I want to talk to you about your relationship with Coach Andy Reid. You guys go back a long ways, and your partnership has reaped great dividends for the Chiefs. How early on did you guys know that you had a connection, just saw the game in a similar fashion?
Well, I think the first year he didn't talk to me, so it's one of those things. He has his whole initiation process, but we spent a lot of time together. I think my first year interning with the Eagles was 04-05, so here we are in 2019, so we spent well over a decade together. But I think anybody that knows Coach knows that he's really detail-oriented. So I kind of learned that over the years that take care of the little things and the big things happen. So I think he knows that when me or my staff come to him with an idea, it's been well vetted.
Second down here for the Steelers and no place to go for Samuels. Well, we were talking undrafted guys, and last year a guy who I call these kind of guys glue guys because they can do a lot of things, Ben Neiman. How you find guys like that to give yourself the kind of roster depth you're looking for?
Yeah, well, I mean, the draft works. Typically these guys that you get as undrafted free agents are guys that you had in your board in your 6th, 7th round. I mean, there's a lot of players, and we really prioritize it in the fact that when our last pick is made, we go right to our draft board, and typically there are guys that are sitting there that you have 6th, 7th round values on, and Ben was a guy like that, and Ben's super smart, and he's another guy that when you get to this stage of final cuts and back-end roster guys that can play special teams, and we take a lot of pride in that, and Dave Tobe does a great job. So he was a guy that kind of stood out for us, and we made a point to get him.
Rudolph able to complete it. There is a flag down, however, at the 19-yard line.
You have to consider Frank Clark really as part of your draft class, if you will. So what are the expectations for him this year?
Well, I mean, look, it's we had a situation where we traded D, and then Justin went to Indy, and being that it's a passing league, I mean, you have to have a premier pass rusher, and being able to pair him with Chris Jones, we think will be a dynamic duo. But very early on in the process, when we were going through the free agents that were available, Frank kind of stood out, and we kind of monitored that situation and stayed in contact with Seattle, and we had the ability. One thing our staff's not afraid to do is pull the trigger, and we think obviously Frank and Chris are going to both have big years.
See his speed off the edge tonight?
Yeah, no. It didn't take him long. I think the second play, he almost got that quarterback there. But he brings a lot of energy, and it's infectious, and him and Chris have worked well together and have a good rapport already, so we're excited about that.
Speaking of the roster and the personnel, and Todd, you just touched on the speed factor that Frank Clark brings. The overall roster speed is really unparalleled when you look at the rest of the NFL. What was the distinct decision that you guys made years ago to change when you were doing an overhaul of this roster, and how you've continued to get speed at all positions?
Yeah, it's just something you have to make a priority. You got to stick to it. Sometimes it's easy to say, well, we want to get speed, and then all of a sudden you come into these decision-making processes, and you kind of deviate and you go in a different direction. But we kind of stuck to that mentality. Anytime we can get speed on the offensive side, on the defensive back end, we'll pursue that. And it's a common thing throughout the league. I think the one thing though, sometimes it is hard to stay disciplined depending on where you are cap-wise and need-wise.
And not to get completely into the draft room or the decision makings, but how much of that is a matter of conversations between you and Coach Reed? Whether it was last year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, when you have those, I'm assuming after the season ends, you and your staff sit with them and say, okay, how do we want to improve this roster?
Yeah.
How do we go about attacking, whether it be trades or free agency or draft or whatever it may be?
Yeah, that's a cool thing. We have a lot of dialogue after the season, so Coach and I will spend, a week, 2 weeks of going over every way we can improve the roster and looking at the depth of draft and looking at how that pairs with free agency and where we are. But the cool thing about Coach is once you get through this process, you trust me, you trust my staff, and we kind of cut it loose. But it's certainly that it's always on our mind, and we're reminded after the season just how we can get more athletic and faster on both ends of the field.
And by the way, Ben Neiman understands television. He just keeps making plays while we talk about Ben. So this offseason a little bit different. You guys have been hunting everybody. Now everybody's going to be hunting the Chiefs, which is a great compliment. But how does that sort of change the mindset of the organization?
Well, I mean, like you said, it's something that, we're excited about. And I think that, we have very good leaderships on both sides of the football, both Pat on the offensive side and guys like Nick Schwartz and Travis Kelce, and then on the defensive side, bringing guys like the Badger and Anthony Hitchens and Chris Jones and Frank Clark. So, our guys are excited. I think all these players will tell you if they get a chance to be on national television a lot and show what they can do, that's a good thing, though. And it's a great thing for our city and for our fan base because they deserve it.
You guys are so deep on really both sides of the ball. How difficult is it going to be to make these decisions on personnel, knowing that you're going to get rid of a player that could go somewhere else and make an impact because but there's just not a lot of roster spots.
Yeah, I mean, early on, and when we started training camp, you know, we had dialogue before we even took a snap with full pads. We think there's going to be a lot of tough decisions to be made, and again, it really will come down to the special teams play and what these guys can do, both from a position versatility and you know, a special teams contribution.
Take us inside a little bit, and you're getting close to that cut down time, and you realize there's some good football players that you're going to have to cut. Do you get on the horn to other general managers and personnel guys and say, listen, we're going to cut this guy. You're not going to get him because of the way the pecking order of the waiver wire works. Do you want to trade for him, and do you work stuff out like that before?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of dialogue between all GMs, and really the dialogue starts week 1 or week 2. Well, they'll give you a list of guys, keep the numbers, and they won't obviously tell you which direction they're going, but they'll say, you know, at this particular position, look at these 4 guys, and you know, they'll keep 2 of them, and so you know, they don't want to show their hand because, you know, they want to protect their depth. But they typically, what will happen, a GM will call and they'll say, hey, we're deep at this position, and take a look at these 4 guys, and then what we do is, you know, we kind of catalog what that particular staff has kept at that position over the years. So if it's a certain team and a certain defensive coordinator or head coach, we know they're going to keep X amount at that position, and if they give us a number, and you just kind of do simple math, right? But yeah, I mean, we'll get numbers, and we'll see what their tendencies are, and we'll kind of go from there and monitor those guys very closely.
10th play of the drive here for the Steelers. Rudolph trying to buy some time, and now he's in trouble. Incomplete. Tried to get it into the end zone there. Eli Rogers, the intended target, but Thornhill was there to knock it away.
I was going to say, we've been talking about Thornhill the last 2 games, and he was a good 10, 15 yards away, and just this explosion to go get it, stay and get his hands on the ball. I thought he was going to come up with the interception.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Todd will be able to tell you. I mean, he ran 4.4, had a 40 vert, 11 broad. He's a really good athlete, but again, you know, athleticism and all those numbers aren't the full tale. But I mean, this guy has tremendous instincts and a great feel for the game.
Yeah, his instincts jump out.
Third and short. It's going to be close. Then he snelled the ball here. It appears the Steelers have the first down. Brett, there's analytics, there's measurables, there are all those things, but you can't measure heart. You guys seem to be managing to find guys who have a passion for the game. During the interview process, is that one of the things you're really looking for, to see how much those guys love football?
Yeah, that's one of the most important jobs really the scouting department has, and you learn that as a young scout. You can see what the guy can do on tape, and you know, they're going to test in front of the whole world, but you know, what are you bringing into your locker room, and what kind of, you know, practice habits they have, and what kind of teammate they are, and we certainly put a high priority on that, and you know, I think we have a great locker room here and a good mix of guys throughout the country.
Have there been any players, maybe undrafted free agents or later round picks, that have stood out to you and maybe come in and done even better than you expected?
Well, Trent just mentioned Herb Miller. I mean, he's done a nice job, and we've been banged up a little there, and we're trying to get better with our numbers there. But I think Herb's done a nice job, and some of the offensive linemen we have done a nice job. And you know, we always have a good group. But again, you know, with these guys here, as we move on to the, not so much maybe the 3rd game, but that 4th game, you know, they'll get to showcase their ability for 4 quarters, and we'll be really dialed in on the special teams, you know, production they have, and kind of see if they can help us.
How important is that, finding the guys that can do multiple things? We all talk about the superstars, the guys with the big contracts, those kinds of things, but it's important finding the Cam Irvins that can play multiple positions on the offensive line. Daniel Sorensen, that can play either safety or get down in the box if you need him. We talked about Neiman because of special teams and playing multiple linebacker positions. Damian, that we just brought over from Dallas, what he's able to do and play different linebacker positions. How important are those guys when you're putting that roster together?
Yeah, it's critical because you know, it's a long season, and you know, you can only carry 3 guys on your active roster, and it is a battle of attrition. So when you get into these you know, these November, December games, and guys are going down, well, it's a lot easier to carry guys on your roster that can play multiple positions, that can do more in special teams, because at any given moment they may have to fill in a different spot.
Steelers take it in for the touchdown. Jalen Samuels gets the first score of the night.
Well, and the other piece of that is the practice squad guys. So continue to evaluate your roster, but also evaluating other rosters to see who you place on that.
Yeah, and everyone knows how important that is. I mean, we got Harrison Butker from Carolina's practice squad, so there's certainly players, throughout the league that will start their season on the practice squad and will end up, playing a huge part in the team's success throughout the course of the year.
All right, we're going to take a break. Brent Beach, thank you so much for coming by. Great to talk to you. We're going to look forward to talking to you week 4 of the preseason. He's done a masterful job with this roster, and we're coming right back with more football. All right, gentlemen, throughout the preseason, we'll take a look around the AFC West, and tonight we'll talk Denver Broncos. New starting quarterback Joe Flacco brings a wealth of experience in a Super Bowl ring. Vic Fangio, previously the defensive coordinator for the Bears, and Philip Lindsay, first undrafted offensive rookie to make the Pro Bowl. And guys, what are your thoughts on the Broncos?
I missed on Lindsay. Still mad at myself.
Appreciate your honesty.
Well, I just think they're going to be a much improved. They've been trying to find a quarterback since Peyton Manning left and retired, and they've gone through a number of different quarterbacks. I thought they had found the guy in Case Keenum a year ago. That didn't work out. He's gone. Bring in Joe Flacco, so I think that has improved them at that position. It'll be interesting to see that. This division's tough between the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders have done a bunch of improvement, and the Broncos still have a good nucleus on that defensive side of the ball. It's just the offensive side with Lindsay in place. If Flacco can come in and bring some stability, Emmanuel Sanders, if he can come back off the Achilles injury, how he comes back. It's going to continue to be a very tough division.
What are they getting in Flacco? I think that's the big question.
Right.
Because the motivation wasn't always there in Baltimore, frustration towards the end of his time there. But now he comes in, and if he's motivated and he wants to prove Baltimore wrong for making the decision to move on from him, he's got talent. He's got a big-time arm.
No, there's no question about that. He can throw it down the field. You look at his numbers, what he's been able to do. Super Bowl MVP, a champion with the Ravens. Had a great deal of success early, made the playoffs as a rookie, continued to have success. But as you mentioned, a year ago, with the emergence of Lamar Jackson's ability to move with his feet, and it really decided it was time to move on for the Ravens.
And how about for the Broncos? I mean, Joe Flacco broke their heart in the playoffs when the year that the Ravens won all. He threw that ball, it felt like about 65, 68 yards in the air, a mile high. So now they've got him on their side. We're in the orange and blue. 1st and 5 for the Chiefs. And Henne tried to complete the pass there to Bell. Didn't complete.
I thought he was close to being over the line of scrimmage. But no flags down, and it was an incomplete pass. So there won't be a challenge one way or another.
Let's see what the hit that Henne takes here. Let's see if they get Darwin Thompson involved in the passing game like last week when he had that nice touchdown. They'll give it to him on the ground, looking for space. Thompson has the first down and more. Shows a real nice burst there, Todd.
Yeah, there's that speed again. It just jumped off the field last week when watching him and just seeing his ability to get to and through the line of scrimmage, and then catching the football, the explosion that he showed as well. So Thompson's interesting. I mean, he's the guy that you looked at this roster coming into the season, and I didn't think much of him. I thought he was another one of the deep group of running backs, but he has shown that he's got the ability and he's got the right kind of explosiveness to fit this offensive system.
And he's got the ability to run between the tackles, which I think a lot of people question. He played in that wide open spread offense at Utah State.
Well, that's what jumped out to me a week ago was his ability to run between the tackles. As we take a look at his burst in college, his vision, his balance, that's the play that he just had to get the first down where he bounced it outside and beat him with speed to the corner, that's what I expected. Last week, the plays that he was playing, the plays and the contact, the way he was lowering his shoulder and breaking tackles in between the tackles, that's what jumped out to me and impressed me. And here's another one. That play was supposed to go inside. There was nowhere to go. He uses the speed to bounce around to the outside. So that vision and balance is, up until this point, is carried over.
That cut. That's what separates him from a lot of other guys. That ability to make that one cut and bounce it outside.
Well, it's the one cut and then the burst of speed. Right. I mean, we just had Brett Beats in here talking to him about making the roster fast. That's another guy, making the roster fast.
Nate Taylor on Twitter, give Darwin Thompson a hole and he'll sprint through it. And he's shown that ability. He's really shined in the first preseason game, and then here in the first half. Darrell Williams in the game now, running back. And he wants to throw. Got deflected. Didn't come out looking right there. Falls incomplete.
That looked like T.J. Watt.
He's going to get
he's
going to get there every once in a while.
Disruptive for a lot of quarterbacks. So. Looks like the rookie Dino Boyd is lined up at right tackle, having to take on T.J. Watt. So that's a heck of a challenge for him.
Number 66, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's McKenzie. Remember, guys, he's the project. Played on the defensive line at Tennessee last year, trying to develop him to be an offensive lineman, and the preseason's really important for him.
Well, it is, and if you look at the first down run that Darwin Thompson had a few plays ago, where he bounced it to the outside, they ran it right off of McKenzie. McKenzie didn't make a great block, didn't get the seal, but he kept contact with him, and he kept his feet moving and kept body contact all the way along the line, so that speed was able to get the first down.
And Henny goes down right near the line of scrimmage.
Henny's like, well, the line collapsed, so I guess I got to keep the ball and foot race it to the corner. Take a look at Eric Bieniemy right there. Offensive coordinator, here in Andy Reid. Bringing the call in. There's Boyd, 64.
Chiefs so far tonight, 1 for 4 on third down. It's third and long, 3rd and 12. Thompson back in the game. It's to the left of Chad Henne. Henne going down the field, has a man, it's caught. Big hit. Marcus Kemp with a really nice catch. And he took the hit and holds on.
That's Henne just knowing the defense and seeing the late blitz come. He had a little bit of a hole there. He had to get the ball in perfect timing. That's what he does. He just understands coverage and where to go with the football.
Well, and that was a 2-man coverage. And as soon as Kemp got inside release, the 2 safeties were wide, trying to give help to the outside. The number 1 job in that inside slot is don't give up inside release. What happened is Kemp getting a little stutter step to the outside, got the inside release. Oh, he took a shot to the end zone to Hardman. Had to get rid of the ball early.
Guys, wide receiver is a position of significant depth on this roster. So for a guy like Marcus Kemp, who's very good in special teams, pretty big moment for him to go out there and make a play. Because, guys, you're going to have some tough decisions to make at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, it starts, obviously, with Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, you got Nicole Hardman, and then after that, I think there's competition. You know,
but you got to figure DeMarcus Robinson.
DeMarcus Robinson is most likely the number 4 or 3-4, and then you usually only keep 5, maybe 6 the most, and so they've got some tough decisions to make.
Offsides, it appeared on the Steelers.
The thing I like about Kemp, though, 6'4", 210. So it's a big target running down the middle of the field right there. That matchup with that nickel defender gives a huge size advantage. And if you can get a release like he was able to do.
Number 48 defense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's on Bud Dupree. Good looking drive here for the Chiefs.
It is, considering the Steelers still have a lot of their starters on the field with Watt and Dupree. Those are their premier pass rushers. Going against some young tackles, or at least one young tackle, and Cam Irvin on the other side.
Catch is made right before the sticks by Cody Thompson. It's going to bring up 3rd and about maybe 1.5 feet. Guys, Thompson had a couple of good catches when the ball was thrown his way. He secured it last week, and he's an undrafted rookie. Played his college ball at Toledo. But boy, don't you feel like he's auditioning for other teams because of the depth at receiver?
Probably is. He probably is. I mean, unfortunately for him, we just went through the whole roster in terms of the wide receivers. There's just not a lot of space.
And there's Thompson between the tackles, picks up the first down for the Chiefs. So this drive continues, and they can milk the clock down to the 2-minute warning if they elect to. And Henny's headed to the sideline, so that will be the final play before the 2-minute warning. Well, nice response by Chad Henne in this group. We have hit the 2-minute warning. We're coming right back to Heinz Field.
This is
Trip to Arrowhead this season? Get the best Chiefs tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Every ticket is 100% guaranteed to get you in. Ticketmaster, the official marketplace of the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, gentlemen, we're at the 2-minute warning, so glad everybody's with us tonight. Ari Wolf alongside Todd McShay, Trent Green, BJ Kissel down on the field at the 2-minute warning. This has been the best drive for the Chiefs so far tonight. Chad Henne at quarterback. You see 10 plays, 64 yards. They've taken 4 minutes and 39 seconds off the clock. Certainly they'd love to punch this in here to cap it off. They can pick up a first down at the 3-yard line. 1st and 10. Henne, and he'll be sacked back at the 17-yard line.
Take a look at the receivers. They're in man-to-man coverage. There's not a whole lot of space for any of them. Chad Henne under pressure immediately. Tries to step up in the pocket.
Bud Dupree got there pretty quickly for the Steelers. Less than 90 seconds to go till halftime. Henne, and that's knocked down.
Well, we've seen a bunch of this throughout the first half by the Pittsburgh Steelers, bringing that secondary pressure, blitzing off of the slot, whether it's the nickel or dime. This time the corner comes from the outside. Henne trying to throw the slant off his back shoulder. Burns able to just get up and get a hand on it.
It's the right place to go with the ball. Just couldn't get it through.
Chiefs are 3 for 6 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and long, 3rd and 15. Good pocket. Henne's got his man. Touchdown, Chiefs. Hardman with the catch and the score.
Great throw by Henne. Excellent protection. He's able to get the ball out quickly so it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the offensive line, but there's a 3-by-1. It's a 3 vertical to this side. Demarcus Robinson's going to go to the outside. Hardman works his way right up here. Tight end works it across the middle. By the tight end working to the middle of the field, you can see how the safety is drawn to that side and leaves an inside seam to McCole Hardman. Gets excellent separation and just a dime from Henne.
And that's that initial speed that allowed him to get there. You can see the explosiveness he has off the line of scrimmage. When he learns how to run routes and become more of a veteran player, he's going to be dangerous.
At 7, and Chad Henne, McCole Hardman hook up on the 17-yard touchdown. But how about the drive? 13 plays, 81 yards, about 5.5 minutes. We see Hardman now scoring in back-to-back weeks to start the preseason, and there he's talking to Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure Chiefs Kingdom hope that those two guys are going to be on the same page come the start of the regular season.
Excellent throw by Henne and catch by Hardman. Remember, the catch by Kemp down the middle is really what put him into position to have that touchdown.
And here's the key stat of the drive, guys. Kansas City, 3rd down, 3 for 3.
I was going to say 2 huge throws by Henne on 3rd down when they were backed up. And, you know, it's great to have a veteran quarterback like that you can count on as a backup. It's also not just what he can bring to the field, but can help with your starting quarterback, can be another resource for Pat Mahomes. He's been around a long time and knows this game.
You see some of those Twitter comments. Sorry, guys. A lot of love for Hardman.
Well, I'm impressed by that offensive line. I know they gave up a few sacks, but that was the starting defensive line for the Steelers going up against a backup offensive line. And 3 for 3 on 3rd down and long sustained drive.
Dobbs in at quarterback completes the long throw into Chiefs territory to James Washington. It's situational football here, guys. The Chiefs defense here got to find a way to slow down the Steelers. They still have 52 seconds to work with.
Timeout. Pittsburgh, they're first.
Pittsburgh uses a timeout. That'll give us a chance to take a break with them. That's to look forward to. And get to learn a little bit more about Darren Lee. Had an impact in the preseason already, coming over from the New York Jets. 1st and 10 for the Steelers. Final minute of the half. Dobbs with the completion, and it's Darren Lee right there. Force him out of bounds. Ryan Switzer with the catch.
A lot of coaching staffs and players continually talk about situational football and get an opportunity to work situational football in practice. They try and put those demands on their coordinators, try and put their demands on the coaches and ultimately the players. And this is just another example of that opportunity. Steelers with 2 timeouts, 45 seconds to go, trying to get number 1 into field goal range and ultimately trying to get themselves a touchdown, and the Chiefs are trying to stop it.
Real good hustle on that play.
Breland Speaks didn't make the play, but just watching him come off the edge, really good job with his hands. And then you see him in the background chasing and giving great effort.
And Passanio there, I mean, he was relentless going after the quarterback. He is some physical specimen.
6'7", 290, runs a 4.8, 30-inch vertical, got a wingspan of about an 8.5-footer. Doesn't it seem like he's got an incredible wingspan and really has benefited from the switch back to a 4-3 defense where he can put his hand in the dirt and come off the edge.
3rd down, and it's incomplete, so the Chiefs defense comes up with the stop after the big play to start this drive for the Steelers. So they've got decision time here. Do they think about going for it, guys?
Yeah, they're staying on the field. There was no hesitation on their part. Now this is big. The Chiefs still have 3 timeouts in their pocket. If they can get a stop here, they're going to have a chance, like I said, with those 3 timeouts, and they'll probably have 30 seconds or so to try and get themselves in scoring position.
4th down for the Steelers. Going up over the top, going for it all. Double team, great coverage by the Chiefs. Really no chance to complete it.
Well, now this is
one of the guys right there, 27.
We haven't had to talk about it tonight, but the pass interference call can now be challenged. It can't be challenged by the coaches because it's under 2 minutes. It would have to be a challenge from the booth. I can see the Steelers sideline. The coaches have their hands up in the air looking for a booth review.
I don't think they're going to get one.
Doesn't look like any of the officials are huddled up or even considering it. So excellent job by Thornhill.
Trent, as you said, 3 timeouts in 28 seconds. And Bucker, we saw at training camp, he made a field goal for more than 60 yards. So this is certainly a manageable situation with 28 seconds to go in the half. And Henny will muff the ball. Ball's out and recovered by the Steelers at the 38-yard line. Henny just never got a good grip on the football.
Muff snap, recovered by the quarterback. Run and fumble, recovered by Pittsburgh, 1st down.
Well, goes without saying. You don't want that to happen because now you're giving the ball back to him. Henny just relaxes. The ball's a little low, but he relaxes and takes his eyes upfield as it just hits his hand and drops. Then he picks it back up and gets it knocked out from behind. And
well, he knew that corner was coming off the edge too.
Yep.
Tried to rush it.
Some more situational football for the Chiefs defense.
Well, now flip it back around. Steelers have 2 timeouts and 28 seconds to try and get themselves into scoring position. Excellent job by the defense last time getting a stop and getting them off the field. You see Andy Reid asking him what's going on. Henny over on the sideline.
Dobbs down the field, that's caught. Down at the 13-yard line. There is a flag down on the play. Eli Rogers makes the catch.
Well, and most likely when this happens, it's either a defenseless hitting a defenseless player or leading with the head. And
it was Sorensen in there. You just couldn't tell from real time whether he led with the helmet there.
It looked like, on the replay, it looked like he turned his shoulder, and it was more of his shoulder, but.
Personal foul, hit to a defenseless receiver, number 49 defense. This penalty be assessed half distance to the goal, and an automatic first down.
Trent, coach me up there. It looked like he turned his helmet away from him.
Yeah, you know, I don't agree with it. I think that I think the receiver had a chance to turn his head and look and protect himself and tuck himself away.
First and goal for the Steelers, 21 seconds to go in the half.
But that is not a reviewable play. So even if the Chiefs didn't think that was a penalty, they can't challenge that.
Dobbs gets rid of it, and it's picked up. Here come the Chiefs. It's Ward. And Ward out near midfield. The defense comes up with the play.
In under 2 minutes, they wouldn't have been able to challenge it anyway. But Ward on the next play gets an opportunity to come up and make a big play.
Offense number 72. This penalty is declined. The result of the play is an interception. Kansas City, first down.
Well, the Chiefs have all 3 timeouts and 10 seconds to go, so they're only going to need to do 1 timeout, but they can still get themselves into field goal position.
Really good job there.
That's on Dobbs. You see Dobbs didn't set his feet.
Exactly. But sticking with the receiver, and then he shows the speed after he makes the interception.
So a chance here for the Chiefs to hopefully get a chance at a long field goal attempt.
Never want to get tracked down by the quarterback, though.
Henny completes it. They get out of bounds. Great execution. Byron Pringle the catch.
Right at the 40, so this would be a 58-yard field goal, which is within Butker's range. We've seen him make those in practice and in warm-ups. 5 seconds to go. I don't know if they can get a playoff. And
it's usually 6 seconds.
They're heading off. He's going to get a chance.
Even though we had all that weather earlier, there's no wind at all. He's got a shot at this.
I was going to say, somebody's got to end up calling timeout here because the play clock was down to 14.
Kansas City, they're first. A 30-second timeout.
Butker's career long in the regular season, 54 yards. We haven't gotten an official word, but I believe it's going to be 58-yard attempt here. Great numbers a year ago, Butker. 24 of 27, so 58-yard attempt to give the Chiefs the lead at the half. Good snap, good hold. Has the distance, but he pushed it a little bit to the right.
That is the end.
So
of the first
halftime is upon us. Entertaining first half. Game tied at 7. Lots of good stuff coming up at the half, including an inside look at Darren Lee. Welcome back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Weather has cooperated. We got off to a late start. Kickoff was delayed by an hour. Game tied at 7 at the half. As we say hello to everyone again in Chiefs Kingdom. Ari Wolf, Todd McShay, Trent Green. And Trent, what'd you take away from the opening half?
Well, I thought it was great that that backup offensive line went in against the Steelers' starting defensive line, and they were able to put together that long drive. Henny coming up with a couple big down conversions. Darwin Thompson with some runs. The throw to Kemp was outstanding, and, of course, the touchdown to McCole Hardman. But, yeah, that's why I was impressed with that backup offensive line.
And then how about the defense at the end of the half, the 2 big stops when they needed it? I've been impressed with the secondary play. I think that's a group when you look at this team where you have some concern about is it as strong as the defensive front or some of the other positions, but they played well, and it's been a lot of the backups that have really come up with huge performances so far.
Yeah, Herb Miller is certainly a guy that I think people are going to keep talking about. He's put together back-to-back good games, and we want to take a look at the high-V drive of the first half, and they did one scoring drive, and Chad Henne and Darwin Thompson, they converted on 3 third downs on this drive, guys. It was a good-looking drive at the end of the second quarter.
And you see Thompson's speed. We saw that in the first week, and he's making a push to make this football team because of the way he's playing. And then Hardman, obviously, the big-time speed as well. They have high expectations for McCall this season.
There's a look at stats. See those turnovers. Both teams are going to want to clean that up a little bit.
Everything's pretty even, though. Look at penalties, 4 apiece. Time of possession is pretty similar. Obviously, the score, the turnovers, all that's very similar. There's a lot of position battles. I know we talked about we had an hour of a rain delay, lightning delay, so we got to cover a lot of the position battles, but we're going to continue to see that throughout this entire second half. The tight end battles, who's going to be that number 2? The running back battles as it continues to evolve throughout this game. Who are going to be those next running backs? The receiver battles, defensive backs, linebackers. It's a lot of these young guys have stepped up. Herb Miller, we talked about. Charvarius Ward got the interception right at the end of the half. Neiman's made a number of plays. It's been impressive to watch.
Pringle is back deep. He'll have a chance here from his own 4-yard line. Byron Pringle did a big return last week. Flag comes down. Pringle had the great preseason going last year for an injury.
Personal foul, double team block number 92. Penalty be assessed half the distance to the goal. First down.
He's a player that really needs to shine.
Let's go to
Pringle
BJ
does.
Kissel.
Thanks, Ari. Talked with Coach Reed going into halftime and asked him about what he saw from Patrick Mahomes and mentioned the fumble that cut one of those drives short. Asked him what the plan was for the second half, and Chad Henne's night is done as well. It's going to be Kyle Shermer and Chase Litton, starting with Kyle Shermer here in the third quarter.
Thank you, BJ. And there is Kyle Shermer. Played well last week. 22-year-old from Philadelphia. His father, Pat, head coach of the New York Giants. And it's Darrell Williams, the ball carrier, and he picks up 3 yards on first down.
It's interesting that he's been in the game before Litton both weeks now.
Yeah, that jumped out to me as well, because when I went to camp, Litton was usually the one to go in third and Shermer was going in fourth. Last week, Shermer got a lot of playing time as the third quarterback going in. Litton went in, actually performed really well.
He did.
You know, I want to say it was 11 for 14 or somewhere around there, over 100 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but he had the 1 interception. Shermer, on the other hand, didn't complete 50% of his passes, but he didn't have that turnover.
Right.
He was able to do some positive things without turning the football over. So I think that's going to be an ongoing battle as well between Litton and Shermer, although it seems right now that Shermer has the edge because he's the first one coming in 2 games in a row now.
And there's Litton. He'll get his chance. Okay, Shermer, just to cap off what Trent was mentioning, 6 of 15, 77 yards, but did have the touchdown and no turnovers. Got good size, 6'4", 225 pounds, played in the SEC at Vanderbilt. Third down. And Shermer completes it.
That's a big catch by Pringle. You were just talking about Pringle has to step up. Early in training camp, that was a guy they were talking about on a daily basis, that he was showing up in practice, coming up with big plays. And Ari, you mentioned last preseason how he came up with some big plays before an injury. There are so much, you know, Demarcus Robinson and Kemp, who had a big catch down the middle. Pringle's one of those guys that's right in the mix. He's going to be that 5th receiver. And we're going to talk about this through the entire preseason, but that's big for him to come up with a big 3rd down conversion catch with tight coverage.
Nice run there by Darrell Williams, and let's get an injury update from BJ.
Yeah, guys, you're just talking about Marcus Kemp and that big play he made on the touchdown drive. He came off, limped off after that catch, and I just got an update that he is out with the knee injury. He got carted off after that play, and he will not return tonight.
It's so tough, guys, when you see a guy trying to make a roster and you get hurt in the preseason, and then it affects the reps you're going to get depending on the severity of the injury. So hopefully he's going to be okay.
Well, and that's why it's important to have depth. We have Brett Veach up here talking about the depth that he's trying to amass at every position, and injuries you just don't know, and that it happens to every team in the NFL. You're going to have injuries, but it's the importance of that depth, and you have to. It doesn't matter if you're talking about guard or tackle or receiver or linebacker or safety for that matter. You've got to have the depth, and unfortunately for Kemp, hopefully it's not a serious injury because he's been having a big impact so far here in the preseason and was really solidifying himself a roster spot.
Shermer gets it out, and it's complete. Cody Thompson with the catch.
Good job by Shermer, knowing that the blitz is coming, man-to-man, gets the ball out right on time.
Get the ball out of your hands quick. Thompson, that's another catch for him. And I know you said it earlier, he could be performing for some other teams, but you keep showing up, coaches have to take notice.
Darrell Williams, the ball carrier. He's about 2 yards shy. Trent, where do you think Darrell Williams fits into the running back group?
I have a hard time with the way it stands now, thinking that he is going to make the roster. But as we just mentioned, there's injuries that happen and things that happen, and this is going to be, at least in my opinion, a running back by committee. They are going to utilize different backs. It seems like Carlos Hyde and Damian Williams and Darwin Thompson. Those are kind of the guys that have been showcased so far in the preseason. But you never know. I mean,
Bell there with a nice catch to pick up the first down. So Blake Bell makes another play. The fifth-year man out of Oklahoma, the former quarterback. And breaks that tackle. Gets himself into Pittsburgh territory.
What, you come up and try making an arm tackle on that guy, you got another thing coming. That's
the Belldozer.
You better bring your shoulders in on that. You can't just throw a wing out there and think you're going to trip him up.
And the coach said it's going to like the fact. How about this number? Last 5 third downs, they've converted all 5. So critical to be successful in this league. You got to convert it on third down. They had a slow start in that category, but 5 straight. Shermer, he underthrows Thompson.
Pass is Kevin for Thompson.
Get the juice going out there. Get the juice.
Todd, when you were doing your evaluation of Shermer, what were some of the things that stood out? Because he put up really big numbers at Vanderbilt.
He did. I like his timing, his anticipation. He knows what he's looking for. The obvious answer, coach's son, and understands the game. He doesn't have the big arm like Chase Litton does, but if you get the ball out on time, it doesn't always matter.
Good blocking here for Williams, but a flag comes in late in the play. And it appears it's in the area of offensive holding.
Holding, offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
That's on McKenzie. Here's a look back at Shermer in college.
Vanderbilt, typically, you're overmatched if you're the quarterback. And to go out and put up the numbers he had in big games against better defenses, South Carolina, Florida, these teams in the SEC, I think that kind of showed you what he's made of. He's got a lot of toughness, and like I said, he understands where to go with the football by reading coverage.
Second and 20, Shermer. The ball's up in the air and incomplete. Pringle, the intended target.
You watch Pringle, he's just going to vertical release, step across the center, across the face of the safety. It's interesting. I wanted to see that replay because we talked to Andy Reid last night about that. We said, okay, at what point in time do you throw that challenge? Do you try and get the pass interference? And it's all situational. What's the score of the game? What's the time of the game? You want to have one in your pocket. You want to have a timeout in your pocket. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's a work in progress throughout the preseason how each team and each head coach are going to utilize those challenges on the non-calls.
Third and 20, Shermer feels the pressure and gains a couple of yards. So the Chiefs will be forced to punt. Well, they were pretty far backed up. They got a few first downs. Fox on to punt. Spencer waits for the Steelers at his own 10-yard line. Return. 10 yards. Return starting from the 15 into some space. 2 yards. 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 2 And the punter can't bring him down. And he's finally tackled. It appears he gets just inside Chiefs territory. Raymond Davison saves what might have been a touchdown there. So we'll step away. Good field position for the Steelers when we come back. Part of the Chiefs Kingdom you call home. You're one click away from the newest and widest selection of official Chiefs gear. Visit shop.chiefs.com today to purchase the new 60th season line of merchandise, including this hat launching in September. We've seen a lot of Chiefs fans here at Heinz Field tonight. A lot of red jerseys, not only at the team hotel, but walking around Pittsburgh the last couple days. Chiefs fans are traveling. Steelers, 1st and 10, just inside Chiefs territory. Gain of, you call it 8 yards on the play. Ben Neiman with the tackle. Let's check it with BJ.
All right, thanks, Ari. Down here with Chiefs receiver DeMarcus Robinson. DeMarcus, I think one of the storylines all offseason is what can this offense do to top what you guys did last year? I know it's just 2 preseason games, but how ready do you feel if the regular season was just around the corner?
Man, we feel pretty good, pretty confident. We're just out here trying to make a couple plays during the preseason, let everybody know we bring it during the season.
What's the mindset of a group when you look around and see all the talent that you guys have around you, just how confident you are when you step out on the field?
Oh, man, really confident. A lot of guys like to have confidence when we practicing, and we just take that to the field, you know what I'm saying?
How fun is it for you to go out and watch McCole Hardeman, what he's done the last 2 weeks? We saw creative ways to get him the ball last week, and then the all verticals here, catching in traffic. Just what's it like for you to see a young guy go out there and make plays?
Oh, man, it's exciting just to have a young cat coming in, making plays. It feels good for him, and it boosts his confidence very well. He's been making plays in the offseason as well, and he coming putting it on film.
One of the things that when we talked with him in the production meeting yesterday, we asked about what he's picking up from every guy. He went down the list of every receiver and what he watches you guys with your one-on-ones and your leverage and how you get off. Just what have you seen from him as far as his ability and his willingness to put in the extra effort, the work, the details, the film room, all that kind of stuff?
I believe he got great speed. We just see him. We stay with him in the meeting room, and we just show him the things that we do, and he likes to learn. So that's a good asset for him, and we just try to teach him everything we know just so he could be a better player himself.
All right, DeMarcus, last question I have to ask, because at practice every day up at training camp, I saw you signing. They'd blow the horn where you guys could go up the hill. You're done with practice. You're done signing autographs. You stayed there for an extra 20, 25 minutes till every fan was gone. Just how special was that for you, and what made you want to do that?
I mean, these people come out, spend hundreds of dollars just to come out and watch us play, and we want to put on a show for them, and it's also good just to give back to the fans and let them see us without a helmet on, just to shake their hands and sign a couple autographs. I think it means a lot to the fans.
Making memories up at camp, and hopefully making memories as soon as the games start for real week 1 against Jaguars. DeMarcus, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, BJ. Thank you, DeMarcus. 4th and short for the Steelers. 4th and about 6 inches. Almost stopped. The Chiefs had a chance. It was Darren Lee. There is a flag, however, at the 38-yard line. Fenton ultimately brought him down, but Lee had a chance at him.
Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
Trent, as this defense comes together under Coach Spagnuolo, it's going to take time. So in terms of creating expectations, what this defense looks like through the first 4 games of the season may not be very much what it looks like once we get into the final 4 games of the season.
It's definitely a work in progress, and I think people need to understand that and be aware of it, and especially the players. When you bring in the number of new players that they have, you bring in a new coordinator, you go from a 3-4 to a 4-3, there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made. Breland Speaks and Tano Passignon, they were playing outside linebacker stand-up. Now all of a sudden they got their hands in the dirt. Yes, it's a position they're familiar with because they played it in college, but it's still, there's a transition that goes on there. Linebackers, Anthony Hitchens played in a 4-3 in Dallas, so he's real familiar with going to a 4-3, but it's different for a linebacker in a 3-4 compared to a 4-3. So there will be some adjustments and some growing pains throughout the process.
History 101 question presented by Park University. We asked viewers, before Patrick Mahomes broke the franchise single-season passing yards record last year, our own Trent Green held the record with 4,591 yards. What year did Trent set the record? Guesses can only come from Todd or BJ. Trent is not available to answer this question.
1971.
I'll get you back.
That won't soon be forgotten.
So I was here 2001 through 2006. So it's got to be one of those. 3 of the 6 seasons were over 4,000 yards. So that narrows it down a little bit more. You got to
know your Chiefs' history.
You got to piece
2004.
it together.
No?
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
Did you peek?
Definitely 2004. Brett Hoffman's all over it.
I'm shocked. You narrowed it down.
Oh, yeah. The thing I remember that completion to Gonzalez, I remember the shot to the ribs that I took right after I threw it.
I want to give you some more love, though. In this record-breaking year, Trent, you also threw for 27 touchdown passes and connected with a very new Hall of Fame member, Tony Gonzalez. He had 102 catches that year.
Yeah, that was a record until Kelsey a year ago caught 103, and 27 passing touchdowns is laughable after Patrick Mahomes threw 27, in maybe 8-9 games, something like that.
Well, when the franchise record's 30 and you get 50, it kind of makes everything look different, right? Touchdown
it's
passes.
all good. It's all good.
This week's Chiefs History 101 is brought to you by Park University, the official higher education partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, and for that yardage record to last as long as it did, Ari, it's
impressive.
I'll take it. I'll take it, yeah.
I'll take number 10 with me anytime. I'll take Trent Green.
Appreciate it. Here are the Steelers fans trying to crank it up for their defense. Kyle Shermer back on the field for the Chiefs.
Shermer was 3 for 422 yards on his first series. It's Darrell Williams, the ball carrier, and he gets to the 16-yard line. A little less than 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. So glad that you're with us. We got off to a late start. There was lightning in the area, and then we actually saw some lightning. It was a little scary. They cleared out the stands, and there was some pretty heavy rain, and the game kicked off about an hour late. But we promised football, and we're getting the full game in, and that's what really matters. Blitz is coming. Shermer sees it. Looking for Pringle, and there was some hand fighting there. Let's see if this is worth the challenge.
Really surprised at the number of blitzes that the Steelers have thrown in here. They started off the game, the first 3 plays of the game, 2 of the first 3 plays of the game, they brought the nickel defender off the slot. That time they bring a linebacker from the left side.
I mean, that does look like interference.
Yeah. Let's see if they decide to challenge it.
Shermer had the right idea there. He recognized blitz, made sure he had the protection. He had isolated Pringle one-on-one, and that's really Pringle's job to go up and make that play.
Well, we talked to Coach Reed about it. What would the process be? And he said he's got guys in the booth that would give him a heads up if it's something he needs a challenge.
Shermer, what a throw, but Thompson can't hold on. Great throw.
That was a great throw. That's a gutsy throw. Down inside, around your own 10-yard line. You throw it up over the defender. Look, the defender nearly gets it. Thompson goes up, hits him in the hands, but the shot to the low back knocks that ball loose. Ooh, it's a big hit.
Bud Light Hypermo there giving us a really cool look at it. Thompson, until that moment, had caught everything thrown in his direction. Spencer makes one guy miss. And Spencer forced out of bounds at his own 40-yard line. We're coming right back with more football. Fun today by signing up your child for Chiefs Kingdom Kids for free. New members will receive a custom youth football as a welcome gift. Invites to free exclusive events at Arrowhead and more. Join today at chiefs.com/kids. And there were a lot of kids up at training camp. Incredible attendance out there. The interest in the Chiefs seemingly at an all-time high. And there you see, crazy for training camp. A new record, over 62,000.
Excellent turnout by Chiefs fans up in St. Joe. Nearly 30,000 more fans this year than there was a year ago. That tells you how sky high the expectations are.
Dobbs going downfield. Good coverage, step for step, and they were looking for Washington. And it's Mark Fields, the rookie out of Clemson. What do you think about him, and how was your evaluation of him, Todd?
I like him as a player. I think he's got a shot. He's got some quickness. In Clemson, there were so many defensive backs. They had so much talent there that he really played a lot of nickel, and really was a number 3 corner. But obviously they value him and brought him in, and I think he's got a chance.
Ben Neiman is going to make the tackle. He gets a little bit of help there from Rashad Fenton. They bring down Edmonds. Tell you guys, Ben Neiman, whenever he's out there, end up talking about him. I mean, Trent, this has got to be the kind of guy that if you're Trent Beach, you'd be real proud of. You get an undrafted guy like this guy, and then he continues to play and give himself an opportunity to be a part of this team.
Well, you stepped in a year ago, undrafted guy, and contributed on all the special teams. Even had to start a game a year ago just because of injuries, and he could play both the linebacker positions, and just continues to showcase himself this year as you see him getting everybody into place. Guys weren't lined up correctly. He's the one yelling, telling guys, hey, get over here. You're covering this guy. And having that type of leadership as a young player is very valuable.
Fenton makes the tackle, and it's just shy of the first down. So he initially missed, but Fenton stays with it. Rookie out of South Carolina. I like this. At South Carolina, he won the Unselfish Teammate Award. Who doesn't want that guy on your team? So 4th and short, and the Steelers are going to go for it.
Going for it again.
Snell, the ball carrier, and he gets the first down for the Steelers. Breland Speaks brings him down. BJ, what do you have for us? May have lost BJ for a moment. We'll check back in with him in a moment. Dobbs is in some trouble, gets by Passigno and completes it downfield. First down pickup.
Pass complete to number 87, Kevin Prater. That's another Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, the Chiefs decided to change it up a little bit there, bring 5. They brought a rusher off the end. Ragland came to his outside alignment off that edge. Not only Hamilton and Saunders in the middle, Passigno and Speaks coming off the edges, but that time Ragland, as you see him creeping up once again to the outside.
Darren Lee, they see their number 50 in on the play along with Passigno. See if the Chiefs defense slow down the Steelers offense. Late in the second quarter, they were able to do it on a couple of occasions.
Darren Lee's name just keeps popping up. I mean, he's made a lot of plays in his first couple of weeks. I was really surprised, like a lot of people, that he didn't work out with the Jets and wasn't a better player there, but he's getting a fresh start here at Kansas City, and so far he's really taking advantage.
Passigno, a really nice play there. Gets off the block, Trent, and Passigno, we started talking about him at the beginning of the broadcast. Real nice play here.
Well, he and Mark Field. Mark Field stays home on the outside. Passigno, you'll see him here. He's going to want to get to the outside and keep your eye on 26. He's going to come into the picture as well. See how he sheds the block, pushes the tight end into the gap, and then goes to bounce it outside. Field is there to be a part of it. But that's the thing about Passigno is uses those long arm. He presses the tight end down, and then he's able to shed him and get off, cause that running back to bounce to the outside and wrap up his legs.
Dobbs in trouble, escapes pressure. Makes a move and dives forward, has enough for the Steeler first down. Neiman finally brings him down. There's a Chiefs player down on the grass out there, and that Speaks. Well, there's no time, a good time for injury, but certainly in the preseason, you just hate to see a guy go down. Hopefully we'll have an update when we come back. All right, October at Arrowhead, games against the Texans and the Packers. Texans, they're a team that I think a lot of people think has a chance to make some noise in the AFC South after winning it last year. What do you guys think?
I do think so. I think the Texans, you think about that division between Tennessee, Jacksonville, the Colts, what's going to happen with Andrew Luck, Houston? I mean, that's going to be a tough division, but when you consider
of the third quarter,
when you consider with Watson and J.J. Watt, and they got a lot of stuff over there.
Clowney.
The regular season is just around the corner, and seats at Arrowhead are filling up fast. A limited number of season tickets are still available. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action this season. Visit Chiefs.com to lock in your season tickets today. Now, looking at the regular season schedule, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but that Sunday night game when Aaron Rodgers comes to Arrowhead, you know, at the NFL Network, where I spent a lot of time, the comparison they make with Patrick Mahomes is usually with Aaron Rodgers. So the thought of seeing the two of those guys down on the field at Arrowhead on a Sunday night game, boy, the anticipation's going to be just off the charts for that one. Nothing doing there on first down. Trent, I mean, you love the quarterback position. That's got to be a game that you think everybody in America is going to be getting set to watch that one.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting one. You know, you think about what happened last year in the AFC Championship game, the duel between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, the new guy, the old guy. You know, now it's going to be a similar situation. Aaron Rodgers, he's been in the league a long time, had a lot of success, but now you've got the reigning MVP, the two of them matching up against each other, and yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's if you look through that whole schedule, there's some battles that are going to be going on, and it's
catches made. Wade's trying to keep him out of the end zone. Now there is a flag at the 6-yard line, but for the moment it's touchdown Steelers. This may be offensive pass interference.
Yeah, the initial signal is offensive pass interference. It is a scoring play. It'll be reviewed, but
pass interference, offense, number 18, 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
So it goes against Johnson. And we'll get another look at it. All right, I got a two-man jury pool in here. What are we thinking here?
You know what? It doesn't look like a lot of. No. It doesn't look like offensive pass interference, but
I mean, this is where you got to challenge.
They just threw the red flag out.
All right. So this is when there's no call made. This is new this year. We saw it a couple times last week in week 1.
Yeah, I just didn't see it.
That just seemed like your typical hand fighting going down the field, and then from a separation standpoint, I didn't see him push or pull him by as that ball was thrown on the back shoulder. Not what Chiefs fans want to hear, but.
And just so fans understand, they go back and they are going to adjudicate the entire play, guys. They're not just going to look if it's offensive pass interference. Anything they see can turn into a penalty here. Now, one thing for our audience in Chiefs Kingdom, they are using the replays from the Pittsburgh Steelers broadcast, not ours. So what we show you will not necessarily be what the officials see. So just keep that in mind as they review this.
And Tony Carani goes on the headset. He goes over there. He's talking to everybody in New York. The people in New York have already looked at this play several times. So Carani's in discussion about what his crew saw, what his crew did. See hand fighting going on between both players.
Right, and this time it was called. There can be times where you can challenge where there's no call.
From this angle, you could see that the receiver did put his right hand on the back and kind of put, but it wasn't, I don't think it was enough to affect the play.
All right, we're going to step away. We'll be right back. Okay, let's get you up to speed. Now, it was called offensive pass interference. When we looked at it from our replays, We didn't think it was offensive pass interference, just some hand fighting, right, Trent? But
just
the call
is But to the Chiefs fans, great news. They said it was offensive pass interference, so now it's Steelers ball back at the 35. So this is going to be the ongoing discussion from now through the Super Bowl, is the call, non-call, challenge, how it's interpreted. It can go, to me that was just back and forth hand fighting. It didn't seem like either player gained an advantage from the hand checking. That's what I think you have to look for, is does a player gain an advantage? Do you see a distinct move that makes it happen? And fortunately for the Chiefs, they upheld it, but we'll have to see how things are called as the season moves on.
All right, let's go to BJ.
Hey guys, injury on the what we saw earlier with Breeland Speaks. He's questionable to return with a knee injury.
Thanks, BJ. All right, but guys, the NFL has now opened themselves up to a level of criticism I don't think that they're going to welcome. This is going to be every game. I mean, you never as a coach had to worry about whether or not you're going to challenge a pass interference or a non-call on a pass interference. Now you bring that in, and for the Steelers there, it's preseason. You can go ahead and challenge it, but in the regular season, you lose the timeout in a close game. It's a big deal.
And it's all because of one blown call for the Saints.
Field goal's on the way, has the distance, and it is good. Matthew Wright connects on the field goal, and the Steelers have the lead 10-7. 46-yard kick. We step away and see if the Chiefs can mount a comeback when we come back. Welcome back. Andy Reid dealing with New World. Instant replay 2019 rule change. Again, it's just for this year. It's to include offensive and defensive pass interference called, or here more critically, not called on the field. And the booth can review under 2 minutes in each half.
Well, I think what we just saw is I think what the rule, the interpretation is, they're always going to err on the side of the official on the field. And there has to be something clear and obvious to get it to be overturned. And I think what they did is there was nothing clear and obvious that we saw in our replays as Darwin Thompson takes that ball 5 yards deep in the end zone. I like that aggressiveness. He decides to bring it out. But back to the pass interference.
Take a shot.
I think it has to be, there has to be something clear and obvious to get it overturned the other way. And I think you could see the discussion Tony Correnti had with the official that made the call. They brought him over as part of that discussion, and I'm sure he said, I saw the offhand, push him in the back, and that's why I threw the flag. And I think
Chase Litton's in the game.
There wasn't anything obvious to overturn it, and I think that's why it stands. And I think moving forward through the season, that's where they're going to err. They're going to err on the side of the call on the field.
Litton's first throw is complete. Davis makes the catch, and he's hit hard. And a very special guest is with B.J. Kissel.
All right, thanks, Ari. Down here with Chief defensive end Frank Clark. Frank, first action in the preseason, just how did it feel?
Man, it felt awesome. Being back out there, my teammates coming off some injuries and some sickness stuff. But it just felt awesome, what I'm saying? Finally being able to get out there, in the legendary stadium at Hines, just felt fun,
You had 3 weeks up in St. Joe. You guys broke camp on Thursday. Just how do you feel about all the work you guys got done over those 15 practices?
I feel awesome. Just bringing together this team, creating identity on defense. Got a couple of nooks here and there, but we got 2 more weeks to get right. Another, week or so left in that type of, training camp type of practice. So, we got time, but we ain't got time. So we need to get together and, get ready for Jacksonville.
All offseason, you've talked about building this mindset, building this identity. At this point in the season, are you comfortable with where you guys are at defensively?
Comfortable, but not comfortable enough. You can't never get too comfortable out here because this team's always constantly, their jobs as offense is, to exploit our defense and, constantly work to do that. So I feel like once you get comfortable, that's when things kind of fall apart. So we want to stay uncomfortable. We want to stay at it, keep our foot on these guys' necks, so that we can carry this over to the season.
All right, I know you guys aren't going to show too much in the preseason. You're not going to pull out all those tricks and all the stuff you guys are working on. But if you could describe this defensive scheme in 3 words, what 3 words would you use to describe Spagnuolo's defense and what we're going to see week 1 when you guys go to Jacksonville?
I say we fierce, competitive, and we coming with a whole different type of swagger. I feel like when you bring everything together, and that's your practice, your training habits and everything that comes with that. I feel like that's when you start to become a team. You got to trust in each other. I feel like that trust in each other from, you know, the front end to the back end, you know, in the middle with our backers. You know, it's all coming together on defense. And, you know, even on offense, being a defender, looking at our offense, they still the same offense. Explosive. You never know what they're doing, and, you know, they're going to make plays. So at the end of the day, as long as our offense keep making plays, that's our job as a defense to put them back on the field and give them as many opportunities as possible.
I know after OTAs, you and I spent a little time together, and I set you up to talk about individual stats or what your goals were for the season. And I'll never forget what you said. He goes, my job is to help bring everybody else along. I don't care about the individual stats. I don't care about all that. Job is to help everybody get better. When you see what 92 has done the last 2 weeks in Tano passing, you know, getting out there, getting pressure, I hear you over here. I'm not that far away, cheering him on. Just how much fun is it for you to see how 92 is developing from when you first got here?
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man, because you see these young players come in the league, and some of them get complacent. They get happy with being in the position they're in. And I feel like guys like him who constantly come out and they want to prove something. You know, and it's dope to see that, man, these young players. And, you know, guys, it's him, Kalen. You know, we got a lot of young guys who's out here doing everything they can to make teams and to do everything they can to make this team. So anytime you like that, man, I feel like you just got to keep on pushing, keep going.
All right, thanks. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, BJ. We step away. We're coming back for more football. All right, welcome back. Now, come on, guys. Give this guy credit. I mean, he's got the headset on. I mean, he's doing all he can to convince the people that there's two Andy Reids here at the game tonight.
We got to get him with the wire rims, though. He's got the dark rims on his glasses. That's, you know, you're nitpicking when that's what you're getting it down to. I'm like,
quarterback,
you know what?
Attention to detail,
Where's,
right?
He needs the play calling board, too.
The laminated, whether it's a menu or something laminated to hold there. So. And Andy lost some weight coming into this season. He looks good. That knee's feeling better. That other guy could be.
Todd McShay with the cheap shot. I liked it a lot. Well played. Dorian O'Daniel in on the play. Second-year man out of Clemson.
Well, that's an interesting player right there. Dorian O'Daniel, he got a lot of playing time last year because of injuries, and he really came in late in the season and became a third down linebacker that was able to cover backs and tight ends out of the backfield and has the speed to even cover wide receivers at times. And so now he's been pushed back to that third spot. He has to step up. He's a special teams contributor. You see him make another tackle right there. He gets in the backfield. He not only gets in the backfield, he misses, but then he comes back into the play and tackles him from behind. So he's a guy they have a lot of respect for just because of his speed. He's just got to learn to shift from that 3-4, which he was comfortable in a year ago, to now understanding and learning the 4-3.
There you see the 100th overall pick back in 2018.
And he was a great special teams player at Clemson. And that's one thing that he did to get on the field. He actually set the record for the most tackles in Clemson history on special teams.
Third down. It's caught. Fenton in coverage. Deontay Johnson with the catch for the Steelers.
Excellent opportunity for some of these young players, not only to get themselves on tape for the Chiefs coaches and Chiefs personnel, but also for the other 31 teams around the league.
Steelers keep it on the ground on 1st and 10. Pretty good hard running there. Davison 46 there in on the stop. Davison played at Cal, and there's Saunders out there, the 3rd round pick.
Oh, they tired. They want to go home. They want to go home. Run it down their throat.
2nd and 2. And a push there. Gets the Steelers another 1st down. Tavon Walker, 96, along with Davison.
That's another Pittsburgh Steelers.
And just to remind everybody, some of these guys are definitely not going to make the Chiefs, but these guys are playing for their football lives. Because if they can make enough plays to get a chance with another team, none of these guys are ready to give up on their dream of playing in the NFL. So these are big moments for these young men. We're halfway through the fourth quarter. Good job up front. Davison there again in on the play.
I'll tell you what, Ari, these are important snaps. My first 5 NFL training camps, this is when I played. This is when I got an opportunity, and you have to showcase. And you know, these guys, listen, hour rain delay. You get here to the stadium an hour before the game, 2 hours, some of them, hour rain delay. Now we're past 11 o'clock Eastern time here in Pittsburgh. Some of these guys haven't played in a couple hours. But this is your time to showcase. This is when you get your opportunity. And like I said, I went my first 5 NFL training camps. I was playing the fourth quarter of preseason games all the way through, and this is my opportunity. And
on the reverse, Steelers get inside the 30. Miller comes in there to make the tackle.
You just have to maintain the right frame of mind. I mean, it's a mental thing. This is a physical challenge, a physical game, but it's a mental thing as well. And maintaining your assignments, maintaining your alignments, getting your checks right, being in the right position, maintaining leverage, getting an opportunity to make a tackle,
And they know what's on the line.
It is. I mean, it's your job. That's the thing. It's not like you're going back and, hey, I got some classes and you're in school and this is it. This is what you're doing every day. This is what you've worked for your whole life. So you get an opportunity to get a couple series at the end of a preseason football game, you better show up. And there's a lot of people watching. And when I say a lot of people watching, I'm talking about personnel guys, coaches, players around, personnel guys around the NFL.
Well, a guy who's shining this defensive series has certainly been Davison. Been on several tackles. It's been part of last year on the Chiefs practice squad roster.
Well, and I'll even take it another step, Ari, and Todd, you understand this because we had Brett Veach in here in the second quarter. The evaluation process that goes on. Let's say you have someone evaluated or graded second, third, fourth round, and all of a sudden he goes to another team. He doesn't work out for that team. That's a guy, listen, we had him high on our draft board. Now all of a sudden the other team gave up on him. Let's just bring him in for a workout. Let's bring him in, maybe throw him on practice squad. Let's just see what we get. Maybe he didn't fit in that system, but he'll fit in our system, or maybe our locker room is better for him and he can fit into that. So this is an ongoing process for these guys and a great opportunity.
Let's check in with BJ.
Talking about Ray Davison and his versatility. When he was at Cal, he started off at defensive end. He played inside linebacker. He played outside linebacker. And now he's trying to find a home in a 4-3. And that versatility, he's another one of those guys to watch on special teams. Is one of that inside linebacker group that you guys have been talking about all night with Darren Lee and Ben Neiman and all those guys. Ray Davidson's another one of those guys to keep an eye on.
Going to the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown Steelers. Deontay Johnson. Herb Miller in coverage.
Just an out and up, and Miller bites on that out. Doesn't get turned around to locate the ball.
He's having such a good night before that play.
Yeah.
All right, they're going to review this. Let's see if he holds on to the ball. Oh, boy.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, they are looking at the Steelers television broadcast replays, not ours.
So if the Steelers choose not to show that angle, then they're not going to see it? Because that bounced right off his shoulder pads and hit the ground, and then he tucked it in. So hits off his shoulder pads, hits the ground, and ball moves. So that's the other thing. See how he had to re-secure. So the ball can hit the ground. If you have control of it, the ball can hit the ground as long as it doesn't move, and you show possession. Here you can see the ball hits off his shoulder pads, hits the ground, comes up into his hands, and then he loses control again and has to watch now where he takes his hands off and has to re-secure the catch.
Well, now that we've got the new deal with the whole interference thing, we usually spend all of our time talking about, is it a catch or not?
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
I'll tell you what, I'm 0 for 2 tonight.
I told you so.
But I'm okay being 0 for 2.
Yeah, because you were right both times.
I still stand by both my calls. So
I'm with you.
I don't know.
I mean, the ball clearly hit the ground.
We don't know, as we kind of joked about it, we don't know what angles the Steelers broadcast.
Yeah, but you could see the whole thing right there.
Well, we had 2 different angles that showed it hitting the ground and the ball moving. So
extra point on the way, and it is good. And the Steeler lead is 17-7 with 4:22 to go in the fourth quarter. All right, let's go up the hill. Let's see who this guest is.
You could only watch one movie for the rest of your life. What movie would that be?
Shawshank Redemption. That's an easy one for me. Great story about friendship. It shows you can have a great relationship anywhere and, you know, make a best friend. So I just love the connection in that movie.
You and Trent are going to get along very well because he said the same exact thing.
Wow. I mean, come on, Trent. What's up, right? I mean, Shawshank Redemption. Come on, it's an easy question.
Exactly.
Red and Andy, come on. Cody Thompson's getting a chance to return.
We make it 3 for 3 or what? What's your go-to movie?
Definitely my top 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you do Up the Hill with B.J. Kissel?
No.
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 All right, we didn't know if we were going to have a surprise coming here tonight. How about In the Tunnel with B.J. Kissel after the game?
Yes.
How about that, right?
He hasn't had we haven't done enough yet.
We haven't been here long enough.
I really like that the Up the Hills have taken on this meaning. This is great.
And Thompson gets it across the 20.
I might go old school with Jaws.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like a good scare
Jaws,
like that, huh?
Yeah.
It makes you, how do you sleep after you watch that?
You know, my other one, my second, is The Usual Suspects.
Oh, I love that.
Kaiser
I
Soze,
just watched it recently.
just because it's, you know, the mental thing.
All right, I'm going to go to Todd here with the Massachusetts connection. My other one that's close, Good Will Hunting.
I'm going to go with The Departed, if I can chime in from down here.
Thank you, Pete. That's BJ.
Both Boston.
BJ with the dunk from the back row. There we go. I like it. That is a good one.
The ball fortunately falls incomplete. Just kind of hanging in the air there for a moment.
Figure the Chiefs get the ball on a completion or a run. They're going to go into 2-minute mode. They've got all 3 timeouts. They need to get 2 scores. Gives them an opportunity to work on something here.
Chase Litton needs to get this offense moving.
Catch is made. It's Thompson making guys miss and gets across the 40. Flag on the play. Multiple flags on the field.
I'm afraid that's going to be offensive pass, at least where that first flag was thrown.
Holding defense number 46. This penalty is declined. The results of the play, first down.
Oh yeah, he tackles him right in the middle, right in the middle of the field.
22-yard gain there. Cody Thompson. Linton gets hit and fortunate to hold on to the football.
Well, you got to realize they're blitzing. The previous down, they had gone to cover 2, only rushed 4, dropped. That's why they had the underneath route. That time there with the safety rotation, realizing there's a 5th guy coming, you have one-on-one blocking, so you can't take 3 hits when you have one-on-one blocking. You got to understand to get that ball out. And that may just be throwing it away.
Linton tried to get it to Davis. I'm not sure if he would have been able to keep his feet in bounds.
He gets hit, but you touched on the fact that Litton and his strong arm. Watch this. He doesn't get anything into it. He doesn't even step into it. He's leaning back with his feet square, and he still had enough to get it to the outside. Now, like I said, I agree with Ari. I don't know if he would have got his feet inbounds, but tremendous arm strength.
Chiefs on the night, 6 for 12 on third down, but this is a tough one, 3rd and 15.
Well, this is 4-down territory, so if you can get 10 yards here, that'd be fine. You can go for it on 4th down.
Great job of blocking. Pass is complete. And we get it to the Pittsburgh 49-yard line. And that's Thompson with another catch. And this makes 4th down much more manageable. They've got to get to the 47.
We got to anticipate Pittsburgh's going to bring pressure. Well, they don't. They've only rushed 4.
Getting all kinds of time. He's going to take off and run and pick up a Chiefs 1st down.
That's big for Chase.
Yep.
Because he struggled a little bit tonight. Played a lot better, I thought, in the first preseason game last week against the Bengals. And to extend the play and have an opportunity, like you talked about, with situational football to show that he can operate this 2-minute drill.
And good protection. Looking for Jody Fortson. Fortson's a big target, 6'6", 230 pounds. Played at Valdosta State.
That's a tight end in some offenses.
Yeah.
That's a big guy. But here's the thing, now you got 3 timeouts, a 2-minute warning still coming up. I think if you get the ball in the middle of the field here, use the timeout, then you can double up with the 2-minute warning. Double up plays, that is, before the 2-minute warning.
Davis with it. He gets to the 41-yard line, and the clock will tick down to the 2-minute warning. We take a break. Chiefs will continue to try to rally. Welcome back. 2-minute warning in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. Chiefs trailing by 10. Here's a look at what's left in the preseason. Back at home at Arrowhead next week against the 49ers. And then they wrap up the preseason at Lambeau Field on August 29th. Oh, Pittsburgh's looking real good right now. You're just joining us. We had an hour delay due to lightning in the area and some heavy rain. The game didn't kick off local time here in Pittsburgh until about 8:30. 2 minutes to go in this one. Case Litton trying to put some points on the board here for the Chiefs. Good looking drive going. Terrific throw on 3rd down. Bell had it and then he loses it, and it's recovered by the Steelers.
Excellent throw by Litton down the middle. He drops it over the linebacker and in between the safeties.
Fumble recovery by Pittsburgh. 1st down.
All turnovers get reviewed. So it depends if they determined he had control of the football and made a football move.
I mean, he took 3 steps with it.
He did. Yeah. It appears that he did.
But hey, guys, maybe this will be another time where we're wrong and it works out for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I scratch my head on those other 2. But
that's tough for Bell, too.
That was quick. They confirmed it.
Number 72 has reported as eligible. 72.
3 fumbles lost tonight for the Chiefs. I'm sure that is going to be a point of emphasis this week. Atachu comes in there to make the tackle.
Kansas City, their first, a 30-second timeout.
Well, the Chiefs use the timeout, getting a chance for situational football, trying to get the football back for his offense. I want to give a big thanks to all the Chiefs fans back at home for staying up late, and a big thanks to our entire crew. It's been a little longer night than we all expected, but the crew has delivered for us. Stout defense from the Chiefs.
Timeout.
And Chiefs will use another
Kansas
timeout.
City, their second. 30-second timeout.
No surrender from Andy Reid.
Well, there are some positive things you can take out of this. I was impressed with the first defense.
Yep.
I thought they did some good things early on before the guys were taken out of the game. And then with that second offensive line, with the drive they put together, Henne came in and performed very well, threw the ball accurately, just solidified. Not that there was any doubt that he was going to be the backup quarterback, but just solidified that. But I really like that second offensive line and what they were able to do against the starting front four, front seven of the Pittsburgh Steelers in maintaining that drive and converting, and the number of third downs. We talked about that. Yep. Third down conversions during that stretch of play. So there are some positives that you can take out of this.
Darwin Thompson had a good game too.
Yeah,
you know,
it's two back-to-back weeks.
Vying for a job, maybe as the number 3 running back.
And it's broken up at the last possible moment. Andrew Sorrow, the rookie from Florida Atlantic, able to make the play, so the clock stops with 1 minute and 31 seconds. And let's check in with B.J. Kissel.
Picking up from where you left off, saying there's a couple young guys. I see him put together back-to-back weeks. Todd, you just mentioned Darwin Thompson, and then McCole Hardman, for him going through across the middle, that touchdown catch with those guys, 3 guys around him, kind of showing the ability to go across the middle and make a play. That's more than just speed. I thought that was a good sign for him.
Davis comes up to make the play, get the football for the Chiefs at their own 45-yard line. There is a flag down on the play. And Trent, I do want to go back to the first team defense. I thought one thing that really stood out is they got the 3 and out on the opening series, something they were not able to do a week ago.
Illegal shift on the offense. Kansas exercised the option of having the 5-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Well, and the other thing is the first time our chance to see Frank Clark in a Chiefs uniform, Okafor in a Chiefs uniform, both of them getting pressure on the quarterback, and that was nice to see. Thornhill made some plays tonight. That was nice to see his continued development. Guys that stood out, Darren Lee, we talked about quite a bit, running all over the field, making plays. Neiman making plays. Herb Miller making plays. I mean, it's
the defense really played well. I mean, there were a couple big plays allowed. I was impressed right before half, the 2 times that they were able to get stops with that second team defense in.
Thompson, another catch. He's been busy tonight. He leads the team in receptions tonight. He's been targeted now 9 times. He's got 6 catches for more than 50 yards. Marshall had it, and it's probably a good thing that he doesn't hold on, because clock stops with 53 seconds. Oh, apparently they're saying he caught it.
Timeout.
And now timeout's used.
Kansas City, their 3rd and final timeout of regulation. A 30-second timeout.
I think I'm going to leave here more confused on what a catch is and what interference is than before I got here tonight. It did not appear he made a football move with it.
Well, and the fact they're calling it a catch, they've got to give him, and now they're doing it. Now they're giving him the first down. I was like, well, if you're giving him a catch in the 40-yard line, then the ball's touching the 40, then it's got to be a first down, and now they're finally moving the chain. So 46 seconds, no timeouts. You can do a couple plays here, but if you're trying to get 2 scores, you better take a shot to the end zone or
kick a field goal.
Decide to kick the field goal, try the onside kick.
Well, we know Litton's got the big arm, so he could certainly take a shot at the end zone right here. Steelers again bringing extra guys. Litton completes it, and Thompson gets out of bounds. Guys, I can't recall a preseason game where I've seen a team blitz more than the Steelers have tonight.
It really shocks me, especially a second preseason game. So they haven't gone all out where you're bringing 6 guys, but they have been bringing 5 a good majority of the night, especially in this situation. You know the Chiefs need a score. Drop back into cover 2, keep them in front, make tackles, keep them in bounds, but they clearly had something they came into this game wanting to work on, whether it was an extra linebacker or nickel defender off the slot. And they've kept it up all night.
Yeah, here they come again. Litton gets good protection, has a man open. Ooh, a little bit too much on the throw, or Thompson would have had the touchdown.
Excellent job by the Chiefs up front, picking up that blitz, giving him time to throw it. Litton had to throw that ball early, trying to anticipate where it was going to cross in the end zone. Just a little too much juice.
See that big arm on display there.
Keep in mind, no timeouts left for the Chiefs. 35 seconds to work with. Litton, that's almost picked off. He was looking for Davis.
Got away with one.
Yeah, he did. I thought he was going to see the rotation of the safeties. When you see the safeties drop and rotate like that, it generally means somebody's blitzing or pressure's coming. So in your mind, you've got to have made up who you're one-on-one on and where your matchup is. You want to throw a jump ball to, especially in this situation. So now 30 seconds left, 3rd and 10, no timeouts. If you see those safeties rotate, you got to take a shot to the end zone with that one-on-one.
Litton steps up. Throw was on target, but it's incomplete. Kaiser the intended target.
Oh, Litton slow getting up too.
Timeout is taken for a Kansas City injury. By rule, they will be charged an excess timeout. Their 4th.
Well, Litton's going to come out of the game. Kyle Shermer back in there.
Well, and that was even questionable if it was late or not. He took a couple steps, it looked like, and I know it didn't hit him to the head. Shocking him trying to protect the quarterback.
Interesting spot here for Shermer. He probably thought his night was done. He's back in there on 4th and 10. And the Steelers moved. Pace Murphy saw it.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 51. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
But a smart play there by Murphy. He saw the movement. He immediately pointed to it.
It's
4th and 5.
Well, this would be where you kick the field goal and you try the onside kick if you need a double score, but Chiefs deciding to go and try and get the touchdown now.
Shermer completes it. We get the first down. Felton Davis to catch. Again, no timeout, so you have to move quickly.
This will be the last play.
Shermer, the throw. They had a chance. Jamal Custis. Game's over. Steelers win 17-7. Appreciate everybody staying up late with us through the delay. We'll be back at Arrowhead next week for the 49ers. On behalf of BJ Kissel, Todd McShay, and Trent Green, I'm Ari Wolf saying goodnight from Pittsburgh. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you next Saturday.